or so it seems, with a belly round and a heart so grand. He's the YouTube grifter, the joy of the land. Oh, he's as fast as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. He's got a knack for stories, both wild and true. With a twinkle in his eye, he'll entertain you. From baking fails to epic wins, he's the gift that keeps on giving. Let the fun begin. Oh, he's as fat as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. He's got around your screens, and don't be shy. He's got a tale to tell and a pie in the sky. With every click and every view, he's spreading holiday spirit just for you. Oh, he's as fat as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. So here's to the grifter, our digital friend. May his joy and laughter never end. With a ho, ho, ho and a hearty cheer. Merry Christmas to all and a Happy New Year.
Am I the
Wow.
only guy that
Hello.
finds that Santa's hands really small? Like, I have incredibly small hands for an adult human,
I actually,
but
yeah, I have huge hands.
but his hands, I was like, oh, well, that's why Santa didn't play dodgeball, and that's what I'm blaming my lack of skill on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Howdy, howdy. Are we ready to send Sarah off in infamy like the Titanic? Just watch her go into an iceberg and down. Just
Yeet.
yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm just ready to be done with Sarah.
What
Let's
is
put her
the
away.
over under on Owens taking 2 hours to explain his octogenarian honor roller client, my client Sarah Boone? Like, what were we talking about? Little Debbie? Like, I think we know her last name.
I'm more curious to hear, like, are they gonna have like all the people testifying and all that crap?
Who are you gonna have though? I mean,
Ugh.
maybe Jorge's
Maybe her
family,
one
like,
friend from England. It's like, hi, here to
I would
explain
love to see
myself.
if Pena gives a victim impact statement. I'm just saying, her girlfriend would be
Oh,
hilarious.
that's her girlfriend?
Uh-huh.
That would be interesting.
She does have,
Yeah.
if you look at the call logs, there are like a couple that she's communicated with almost the entire time. I can't remember their names, but there was like a couple who had regular visits with her. So maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that the impact statements are subtly like snarky to Sarah, but in such a way that if she reacts, she's gonna look uber douchey.
That's
But
kind of what I hope.
but I hope they're not, and I get that this is the victim's time to speak, so I don't want to, I'm hoping they're not as hard as the Lake and Riley, because
I don't know
those,
that it'll be that hard. And I only say that I think his mom will be the hardest of them all.
yeah.
And if any of his kids speak, but I don't know that any of his kids are going to speak. Or if Lucas decides to make a speech, I think that would be really hard for me.
I doubt that Brian would let him. I really think that I'm not a doctorologist of children, but that has got to be way too much to put on a 14-year-old.
Mhm.
Because you're not getting your mom a downward departure. You're not getting her, time served. All it's going to serve is to further victimize him and utilize him like Sarah's always utilized him as a pawn to get out of trouble.
I actually think it would be him testifying or him giving a victim impact statement on the state side if he did it.
Well then,
Because here's my
still
perspective. I have a mom a
meh.
lot like Sarah, and I
I
could
get that.
see wanting to make the statement of please don't let her out. I don't like she's and don't let her use me as an excuse to let her out earlier.
Mhm.
I could see
Because
Brian being okay with him writing a letter to that
yeah,
effect, and I think Judge Cranick is thoughtful that he will look at that as well,
yeah.
Mhm.
because
That's
her
where I
her
could see him
swath
making something.
of destruction is big. And
Mhm.
we have Marissa here today and Jedi Jess or Jemima.
Yeah.
I know Baker's like, we need to start doing introductions. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like having an
Yeah.
actual idea and like doing stuff in order. I'm willing
Yeah.
to give it a try.
Should turn on lights. Ugh, my lights aren't working.
Oh no.
I wish I was still 13. Stop. Correction, I don't wish I was still 13 because I did not have a good life at 13. Someone had chatted about how a cute
I was
13-year-old has a channel. But
headgear, like the full Silence of the Lambs headgear. And I grew boobs all in that summer too. So I had, awkward boobs and a headgear.
13-year-old Jess was transitioning from tomboy Jess to like trying to find the semi-girl identity that I would be okay with. It was a very interesting period.
I felt that too. And God was like, here, have some double D's for fun. I was like, wait, I thought I was told I would get a training bra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Training? Anyone?
Yeah.
I don't even remember having a training period. It was just like a bam overnight, it felt like.
Yeah, pretty much. Like here, and you'll have to go to the lunch lady section with the 58 steel hooks. Don't let one of them puppies loose. It'll put an eye out, chick. So, Merry Christmas.
Oh my. Yeah, I didn't get boobs till college, thankfully. Right when I needed them.
Really?
Yeah,
I wish I had a layaway boob program. Like I could take mine away from my girls until they're married and can use them again. I'm kind of okay with this idea.
Yeah, mine were like, my freshman 15 were all in left and right.
I wish.
Baker's gonna come in and he's gonna be like, so what did you guys talk about before? And we're
Yeah.
like, boobs. We were just
Boobs?
trying to get you open to a new demographic, Baker.
I'm sure he's listening, and no, he usually pops into chat if he's actually listening. Thankfully, the closed captioning isn't on.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
No,
he's at
no
his
rules.
like HOA meeting thing, isn't he?
Yeah,
Oh, not
he's
fun.
listening to complaints, so he'll come back in a great mood.
Yeah.
Ugh, nothing in
I-
court yet.
I do wonder how long Owens is going to talk, and then I think that the state is going to be pretty constrained and just kind of say, chick filmed herself doing an unaliving. Like, why are we even here? And if Judge Cranick brings out like a desk copier just full and says, I have decided to respond to each and every one of your correspondence to my honor self
Yeah.
or to whom it concerns, I'm there
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. I'm looking for Kranick's like speech right before he gives out the like sentencing.
Yeah.
Because
I
I think that'll
waiting
be
for
interesting.
I
'Cause
think
he's so
all of the
measured.
shade.
But
He has been.
But he also if you read his orders, he throws
Oh.
in those digs.
I like that though. I like the
Without-
subtle shade.
Yeah. So I look forward to the subtle shade from him.
Yeah, I hope she talks just for entertainment purposes.
Oh, let me see. I
Same.
have it prepared here. To whom it may concern, even though I have been adjudicated in a very, very mockumentary style trial, my name is Sarah Boone, and I did not intentionally stuff my fun-sized boyfriend into a suitcase and lightly beat him with a bat. This has all been media lies and conjecture about me. And quite frankly, it's just been devious and disgusting what you've let go on in this courtroom. And then she'll just sit down. Sorry, did not try to kill Jemima on the...
No, nope. I should know better than to drink when you're doing that.
I had to go off screen.
And then I was like, well, great, you're funny now, funny gal, but you just killed 2 people, so...
Yeah.
Well, it gave me a chance to turn my lights on too, so I'm not sitting in
Well,
the
see, there you go.
crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't... I see George's mom being really, really hard. And she might just have a letter written. I will say the victims' advocates, you know, stepping in to be able to read the letters, I think they are worth their weight in gold. So hopefully if any one of them has, you know, a bit of an issue, they can step in, because I think that that's really important too. And for all that she said about them, I mean, George was not, you know, a model citizen, yes,
No.
but he didn't deserve to die the way he did, being filmed and being treated the way he did.
No.
So,
well, you see it in the one where he's like crouching by the wall, and it's just like this horrible, like demeaning, I'm talking down to a dog who just got in trouble type thing, and it's all he wanted to do, it seemed like, was go to bed.
yeah,
Yes.
Also, how is this woman so damn deep sleep deprived? Every single, like, friction they seem to have, her telling was, I was just exhausted. Like, you wake up at the crack of noon to do what, a load of laundry and not pay attention to your son
It's the alcohol.
and not work?
When you're on it, it's such a depressant, and it, like, you don't get quality sleep when you're drinking constantly.
Oh, well, there goes my nightly cure for insomnia idea.
Yeah. I mean, one
Probably
will
also
help.
has something like she probably also had other underlying issues on top of that, though.
Yeah.
That she didn't. That she treated with alcohol instead of, you know, therapy or.
I just want Judge Cranick to say, and you shall never again wear those funky pink shorts and just...
The pink shorts that Baker loves.
The pink shorts that seem to be involved in every single one of her, you know, like showing up on cops. Those are just her cops shorts.
She could swing a cop, and that she needed to show off the legs to get the
Can I get a hug? And he's like, he pulled a Mo, like, this is outside my pay range. I am not related to you. No. And then she's like, what about a fist bump? And he's like, also no, I will tase you. I'm pretty sure this is harassment.
Yeah. Clean and do errands for hours.
Yeah, okay. It's hard spending other people's money. It really is.
Right?
Court is late.
Oh, gosh,
I mean, are we surprised?
Owens is probably getting something from Kinko's.
Another blown up picture of Sarah.
A big old poster. This is Sarah Boone, my client, and this is her with a, well, we don't know if she was trying to do a smoky eye or something, but she alleges that Jorge hit her. I mean,
yeah, that black eye
picture.
Too, like,
it's like
the lines were so neat. Amber. I have never seen a black eye. It looks so neat.
It just stayed all within the margins.
So weird.
Sarah's too type A to let the orbital bone and the nose get broken. She's like, no, only the eye.
Do we think she's getting her makeup done?
I would hope not.
Yeah.
She didn't get up for trial.
My guess is Owens is probably having to explain to her that she's not going to be found innocent and go free today.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would not want to have to try to repeatedly.
It's fun that it doesn't delete it for us, so we can still bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh, so it appears that the Jamie trial, she pled out.
Really? Dang.
The who trial?
The
Jamie,
the DUI one.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, that's actually good because she was another Sarah Boone-esque person that could not see. Like, I just don't understand why people are all mad at me about this stuff. Like, why do bad things happen to good people?
Yeah.
And the dad's over here like, honey, I know, you'll get through this. When you should have said, hey, maybe try not drunk driving at 60 miles an hour.
Well, her mom had hit a firefighter at one point.
Oh,
And
so
got away with
it runs in the family, like diabetes. Awesome. Dangerous to pedestrians, just genetically. I love that we're having free caps revolutions.
Yeah. Nightbot is not timing everybody else out, just Zach.
Really?
Baker specifically
Well,
got
didn't Baker
Nightbot.
say that it had to be like 30 characters or more?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, also true. So if anyone were to test that, it would be Zach.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop yawning today.
Oh, this is the Mondayest Monday that has ever Mondayed.
Because it's after a holiday weekend.
True.
Yeah, my son did not want to go to school today, but oh well.
I can't pronounce her last name. It's Jamie Komarowski or something.
Komarowski?
The one
I don't
who
smell like puppies.
unalived the bride on her wedding day.
Yeah.
Drunk driving.
Yeah.
So now we have to find something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Komarowski.
And, you know, what a good thing to spare the family that trial, especially, she had to know that she was not going to end up looking good at this. And if she had a competent lawyer, they were probably telling her, look, I could waste a lot of your dad's money and take this to trial where you would get, you know, possibly sent to Yugoslavia, like with no clothes on, or you could take a deal and be out in maybe 10 years with time served.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like house arrest. Did she officially take a plea deal, or is it just that they are saying that she is?
They're talking about it now in court.
Gotcha.
It's really low, so you can't really hear it anyway.
That's what I was reading in the chat that said the volume was really bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I couldn't even hear it when I just went in right now. Like you all would probably be able to hear it and nothing.
I don't know why. If you live stream, why not have just one tech guy at your courthouse for the live streaming trials? You would think that we could figure this out. Oh,
Yeah.
You would think.
It sucks. 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 Means stuck. Yeah, maybe the sound guy, like just packed it up and took an early flight.
Like,
It's
okay,
like, oh,
bye.
free deal. I'm out.
yes.
Yeah.
Because
I mean-
there was really no winning that case. I mean, what were you going to say? Look, I was totally hammered, but the bar shouldn't have stopped serving me. Which you could have a...
She's also got a civil case against her.
Mhm.
So this will
Yeah.
impact that because they get to come in and say, well, she pled guilty. So she admitted to
Oh,
it.
that's a good point. I didn't think about that. But
yeah,
yeah,
the husband is suing her.
So Jedi Jess and Marissa, where does the liability start with a bar? Because, I mean, if your purpose is to go there to drink, like, do they have state specified, like, levels of drunkitude that they are supposed to cut you off at? And then is it also incumbent on them to get you a ride home? Or to call the police if you try to drive home?
I think it depends on the state. I know in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania that people have sued bars and won.
Okay.
A lot of times you can on like a negligent standard because they're supposed to not
Cut you off.
overserve people and cut you off.
And call you a
And-
cab.
Yeah.
I think.
And I guess
I don't know.
in this case, there's video footage of her being very drunk at like most of these bars. And they've already settled out.
I'm just putting this here, but we don't have sound yet.
But yeah, I mean, it's usually based on a negligent standard from what I've seen if they don't have a specific statute around it. Some states do.
I've only seen it like when people like bartenders are just like grossly negligent.
Mhm.
Like,
Okay.
and it's usually like college age kids that I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, it does make sense that there would have to at least be some sort of, because it's kind of subjective. You know,
Yeah.
you're trying to guess how drunk they seem. And then are there protocol that you would have to do? Because I would imagine bars would start coming up with their own protocols just to make sure that they're not negligent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of the good ones will have that. They'll have something. That's why like they'll have people checking IDs or like do the whole stamp/bracelet thing.
Oh.
Because all of those will limit their liability a bit if they at least make the effort to prevent either underage drinking or over serving, those kinds of things. Doesn't mean they won't still be liable, but
Well, yeah.
it helps limit it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be provable in some case.
Yeah.
I think it's only 5 seconds, Zach.
Yeah, doesn't it? Oh,
But
well,
you can
keep spamming the chat and you're going to get timed out.
Yeah, probably. Moving myself down. I don't want to look at myself.
That's fair.
My cat is also snoring. Loud.
Yeah.
If it makes you
Dingus
feel better,
has
I
awake
can't hear it.
apnea.
Awake apnea.
Yeah, like a pug.
Okay, Florida, you're supposed to be the
Sure.
one that's on time. Judge Kranick has been really, pretty on time. It's like he
Yeah.
knows I have a deadline to pick my children. It's all about me. Oh gosh, I am thinking like Sarah Boone now.
Is this better? I moved my mic closer.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. I did mute at a couple of points to like open my Pop-Tarts.
Oh gosh. Are we done yet? Is this over? Just kidding.
No,
Come
Owens, someone put it out in chat. Owens is probably making a motion right now. Like,
Well, no,
I
they
know I
live
didn't
that.
send it in, but we don't have internet in Hicksville, so I'm confused.
Yeah.
Man drove me nuts.
Oh, he gives small town lawyers a bad name. I have
I
personally
don't even think he's a
interacted.
small town lawyer.
No. But we need to find a compendium of his old cases. I'm sure one of them had to be streamed because was he this outrageous and arrogant and obtuse when he was doing it for the state? Because wasn't he a prosecutor for a while? Or was he a defense attorney?
I want to say he was both. I know the defense attorney part, he was only it for like 3, maybe 4 years. Prosecution side, I don't remember how long, but it was like 20 years ago.
Hmm.
I was about to say, did one of us try to curse or did the court try to curse?
That was
Just
the
got a
court.
like, that was Kranick. He just saw another motion
So
come in and
warning
he was
beep.
like,
Yeah,
he
I
was like,
think it
instead
was
of Gesundheit, he was like, oh, he's like, put on that Samuel L. Jackson long beep. I need to say some stuff.
Nightbot. I'm glad Zach is like tagged in for me because I'm usually the one yelling at Nightbot because he's stealing my job. Yeah, he was rude. Smooth Steve. He
Mm-hmm.
He was, and the remarkableness about his rudeness is that had he just sat back for a second, filtered out what she said, and then responded, he would have appeared more intelligent, but because he already had his question in his mind, he already had his gotcha. And when she didn't say something, she's like, well, I'm not a psychologist. And he's like, but
Mhm.
you're a you know those things, those people that mess with your minds. I don't know what you're called. And she's like,
people that mess with your mind.
well, I was going to say the Hallmark Network, but you know.
Also accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, my mom loves the Hallmark movies. And I'm like, Mom, it's the same movie done 800 different ways with the same 3 actors. Could we stop now?
Yes,
Could
mine
we
too.
please?
And it explains everything. Mo needs a
Thank
bot
you,
to keep Zach in
MLS.
check.
Oh, like I'm going to figure out how to make a bot. I can barely do a merch store. And that's with like people helping me.
You in the brain business.
You're one of them head shrinkers now that we've heard about here yonder. I read Dr. Spock. I know what's happening. I'm up on new psychology.
It was like a weird role reversal of the questioning with Dr. Spiegel and Depp Heard.
Yeah.
Was Dr. Spiegel the one that had the destiny mouth?
Yeah. Who looked like
Okay.
Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah, except I like Doofenshmirtz because Doofenshmirtz was, you know, a pretty good dad, as we all know if we watched Phineas and Ferb
Yeah.
religiously to get the entire series plot arc.
I followed the creator on TikTok, and at the time it was funny because he voices Doofenshmirtz, so he like redid the testimony.
Oh dear God, how many times did she watch the end of Old Yeller for that crystal happy smile? She didn't watch
Yeah.
Schindler's List as a comedy, did she? Because that's all I'm figuring is made her laugh that much.
Oh, she's
She's
cuffed
got to
again.
do this. I've got to touch all my papers like this because my hands are tied together.
I do like the T-Rex arms. I'm not going to lie.
Mhm.
I am petty enough to enjoy the T-Rexy arms because you know she wants to write notes and type about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No extra clothes, the fancy, no makeup. But she's still smiling because her lady friend is probably behind her.
Probably. I wonder what he's showing
Miss
her on the
Pena,
phone.
you can do better. I don't know you personally, but you can do better.
Looks like just writing, so it might be like a filing of some sort.
And thank you,
Maybe.
my mini 76 or 67. Thank you for £2. I love that I organized all this stuff, and then I'm like, where did past me think future me would remember to put stuff?
Oh, What
Yeah.
are we looking at? There's the family. Oh, they've got notebooks. We're in for a long one. Baker's not going to come back. He hates this.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be listening in on the
Although
car
that
and
looks
then
like a
back
legal pad,
by
so
3.
that might have been like one of the attorneys was like, here, if you want to write a quick something to the judge, and passed it back to them.
I don't know. What is she looking at? Life?
Life is the maximum, and then I think it's
I thought-
22 and a half is the minimum.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I don't think she's getting 22.
I think if she had shown any sort of remorse, but she basically got on stand and was like, I don't know, it just sort of happened and he scared me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Volpe Fox. 9 months.
I think it doesn't help that the videos of her talking down to him and that like hostage video
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end.
No way.
Yeah. Ah, she's smiling. What the hell? That was that is nightmare
She
fuel.
needs- Okay, I have contended that Fox News needs a Caitlyn Jenner warning just because that voice and that face, I just need to be warned so I can school my brain, for the discontinuity that's going to be happening. We need a warning for Sarah Boone smiling.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are saying 40, 30 to 40.
I think
how old did we say she was?
40.
Didn't she turn 47?
I think so, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
So
I think she
most
might
of her
get
life.
life with possibility of parole.
I could see that.
You know what I will say might sour that opinion? I think people, after the Susan Smith thing, I think the realization that Susan Smith is going to, come in every 2 years and bring the family back to drag them through all of these parole hearings again and again. I could see that having an impact on juries going forward.
Yeah.
Maybe wanting to know, and I don't know how you parse that out, but I could see that being something that they would ask now. Like, if we choose, guilty, can we get a recommendation on do they have parole or not?
Well, I think it'll depend on if it's the jury deciding the punishment.
Yeah, who
'cause not
decides
every
this?
case. The judge in this one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know in certain localities, like, there's also then, the penalty phase that the jury goes on to do.
Had it been a DP case, it would have been jury for that, whether it's DP or life. But I don't think her charge was high enough to qualify for that.
There's no parole in Florida. Huh. That sucks for her.
Oh, that's interesting. I know they have to serve at least 80% of their sentence.
Yeah, I think just the utter lack of remorse, responsibility, and just being a total bad word waffle. I think the judge is probably annoyed enough to give her something meaningful.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go with a minimum, and I think he's effectively going to give her life, because let's say 20 years with the possibility of parole starting in, let's say, 15. That's assuming that Sarah Boone can last in a correctional facility, and she's been in the jail thus far.
Yeah.
She is going, with other people who are not going to take her snooty little attitude, other lifers. And
Yep.
People who don't
you
care.
run your mouth only once in those situations.
Who's this bald guy in the front in the way?
I don't
That
know.
might be her private investigator. His name wasn't Billy Blaze. It was something.
It was Billy something, though, I
Banks?
think.
It was either the guy that sold us ShamWows or Tybo.
With a head
Billy-
like that, that's ShamWow.
True.
It's not Billy Lang. That's not it, no.
I know it's Billy something, but I always ended up just
Yeah.
calling him Billy, Amazing.
I know it's like Prison Break Investigations.
Oh, yeah. I remember
Oh,
that
gosh.
because of the show.
Yeah.
Why would you name your investigations Prison Break Investigations?
Billy Mays.
Maze.
Oh. There's a lot of people
Okay,
there.
some people are saying Billy Lane. Billy Blanks.
I don't know.
I love the
I don't know.
daughter's pen. And looks like she is still writing out insults, and I am here for it, Queen. Unless you're a sir, then King. I don't know, it's
No, she
2024, and I'm not good at this.
Are you guys getting sound?
Yes.
Yeah, it's quiet,
Okay.
but yeah.
Oh
I was
God,
like,
does she
but I
have
want my
another
thing.
dissertation? See, like, I have paperwork that I have signed and notarized myself, giving myself power of notary of public.
It could be her pre-sentencing report. But apparently it's too confidential.
Oh, she has some
really?
eyeliner on.
Damn.
Or it's dirt. I bet you she got dirt from the prison floor and put it on as eyeliner.
Ew.
I've heard coffee grounds. So, like, take coffee grounds.
I mean, I
don't
could see the
know.
coffee grounds, maybe, but like dirt.
Well, yeah, it's gross, but I'm trying to make this
Oh, Lord.
entertaining for myself.
Heifer has self-written notes. We are in for it.
Oh. Okay.
Colored pencils.
Oh, it was Billy Joe
Use
Lane.
mice. Yes.
Billy Joe Lane from Prison Break. Ew.
Thank you, Danny T.
How is Owens doing this
colored
without
pencils,
his
Jim.
girls? I mean, who's going to get him files? Explainerate when he's wrong?
What files is he going to need?
Well, what files did he use correctly and filed on time during the case?
True.
I will say, she is looking remarkably jovial for someone who's getting sentenced to minimum of 22 years.
Yeah, she seems really happy, and it's weird.
Owens looks like the Grinch told him that, his heart shrunk 2 sizes, and she's over here like...
I'm thinking that all those people on her side aren't necessarily there for her. It's just because there's not enough room behind the prosecution.
Do
Just a
we
thought.
think this is her written statement that she's flipping through, or the statement she's going to read?
Oh, for the love of God, it's line
Because that's
paper.
notebook paper.
Y'all, I might not have a nightly newsy news if we go to 5 or 6 on this.
Like, that's looking pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
Can Judge Kranick pull a mercy end of her statement for us?
A mercy rule?
Yeah.
Yes, Shoreline Creations. We did see that they have a plea in the golf court case. I haven't seen what the actual plea was, but it was kind of smart of her to take the plea in that case, because I could not think of any defense she could have.
I know what her defense would be like. Because, oh my God, you guys, life is really, 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 really hard. And I didn't even know that I had that many margaritas. And what the hell were they doing driving a golf cart on the road anyway? Like, who gets married and then leaves in a golf cart? That's so not classy. I'm going to have a Rolls Royce at my wedding.
Yeah. Yep, I can actually see that.
I could actually see this be something she says, which is, holy God, ma'am, good thing you took the plea.
I'm like looking at her stack of papers, and I'm just like, that's a lot of paper. Like, that rivals her 58-page letter.
Oh, Lord.
Well, that's all right. The family's over there scribbling away.
Mm-hmm.
Will be a
Yeah,
battle of how long they can sit here.
I am thinking and I am projecting this, and I hope I am not right, lasting until
Hey, Baker.
6 o'clock.
Mm.
You probably jinxed it. It's okay. I brought snacks. I'm good.
What's happening?
Sarah has a stack of papers that
Yeah.
could double as a booster seat, and the family is over there jotting away. So victim impact statements and Sarah's statements could be long.
Yeah.
And your girl pled out the DUI golf cart.
Yeah, that ruined my next week.
Hey, you can always hang out with me, and we're doing the Tony Tot case speed run.
That could be funny.
I wasn't a big fan of Candyman.
Yeah, not the same Tony Tot, but he did just recently pass, so rest in peace, man, who scared me my entire, I was afraid to do the Candyman in the mirror because I saw that movie. I was like, no, there's going to be a hook man and a bunch of bees, and I can't imagine making bees more scary, but add a guy with a hook running after you too. That has crazy eyes. Great.
And danke sehr, Mongoose, for hanging out with us for the long run.
Yeah.
Yep.
What did she plead to? She pled to. It was the DUI case with the.
Yeah, but do you know what the actual deal was? Because I haven't seen it.
No, I just. Oh, you know what's better than Sarah Boone crying on the stage today? Having my chairman say, "Well, you're clearly wrong," and then started reading the bylaws, finding out I was right. I said, "Oh, I remembered the bylaws correctly then." Oh, did you read them before you came over here? I said, "Nope, I read them 5 years ago when I bought the house. I remember what it says."
I have
I'm
lied to
sorry
her
that
friend.
you lost.
No, they are having victim impact statements in her. I've set a stream up for tomorrow at 9, and we can rewatch it there tomorrow. So we won't be giving out spoilers.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But at least, as Jemima said, when she talked to Daddy on the phone, when they found out her blood alcohol level, he said, "It doesn't look that good."
No.
Yeah.
No, I have had more than one, but let's just say we have a chairman who everything you say is a personal attack.
That seems
So
like
when
a prerequisite to run for HOA board.
I'm on the HOA board.
Did you run willingly or in opposition to stupidity? Because I find that people are motivated differently. If you actively ran for the board because you wanted to have power, meh. If you wanted to actively oppose stupid stuff being done with your money, all good for it.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was so mad at the old governing board, and then he came in and was kind of the same. So, and another one who was on there said, "Could you please join? We need someone who's a little more reasonable." Sachs says, "Baker, your damn butt keeps detaining me." Well, stop aggravating Nightbot.
Right?
Oh, did you hear in the DUI case that the mom had sued the dead husband because she was asking about the validity of their marriage because it was so
Yeah.
because she wanted, and it's the money that the crowdfund she set up for the funeral and stuff like that, and then, oh, by the way, I want that money. Please go jump into a lake.
I'm trying to give her grace that she lost her daughter on when it was supposed to be one of the most happy days.
Oh,
but,
daughter, yes, daughter, yeah, sorry, yeah.
But she is going about this in a way that is disrespectful to her daughter's memory.
Yes.
Because she's like, oh, well, she can be buried under her name since you guys weren't legally married. And I was like, that's your daughter willingly walked down the aisle. I don't care how
Yeah.
mad I was at the situation. If my daughter's last choice was to pick this guy, even if I thought he was a douchey McDouche hole, I'd hyphenate the name.
At the very least,
Mine
hyphenate the
first.
name.
But again, it's how petty can you be going out there and yes, he raised a lot of money, but this guy is gonna be spending every dollar on rehabilitation because
Well, yeah.
it was a pretty hard hit that he took as well. He was, I think he was in hospital for quite some time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's amazing. It's 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 just it money always shows pity,
Mm-hmm.
and
It brings out the worst in people. That's why I always
was
tell
trying to-
everyone, have your will ready.
yeah.
And
I mean,
update
all
it
we have to
frequently.
split up as children, so people are like, please, don't put me in your will, Mo. Please, we'll be okay. Leave us out. And I was like, youngest, most feral for you.
Nightbot was built with metric size bolts equal fail. Again, when the boffins at NASA forgot that they were building with real numbers and started using inches and quarter inches, that's when the satellite failed. I'm just saying, get on the program, Bad Dog.
Okay,
Have any of you
where's
watched
Judge
Wicked?
Krennic?
Probably counting to 10 over and over.
Yeah.
I
I
just
have
saw
not
that-
seen Wicked yet, but I never saw the play, nor I got through the first chapter of the book, but then when it was more graphic than a Stephen King novel discussing preteen children, I was kind of like, this might not be the book for me.
I saw, and I don't know if it's a true one, but that it now comes with a warning it can't be prejudiced against green people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Can we just pretend the last 10 years didn't happen and go back to being kind of normal again?
I'm willing
I'm
to
for it.
join.
I think they claim that the dark Middle Ages didn't exist, that it's just something people wrote in a book later. So we actually have 500 years that weren't there or something like that. I would like to do that with the last 10 years. Just claim, no, you fell asleep and you dreamt it. No, we didn't do that. How weird would that
I'm
be?
okay with Rip Van Winkling a lot of this past 10 years. I mean, I'm talking about culturally, though, like entertainment wise, not like my family's stuff, because I'm not going back to diapers, y'all.
What was the theory? That they hadn't been married for long enough for it to be legally binding, but she has retracted that lawsuit.
Wisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, she probably got told
Or
this is a
toilet paper in her front lawn.
Come on.
Oh my goodness, Judge Krennic, where are you? I have to go get the boys.
Who's running the stream? You or Marissa?
I am.
Oh, of
Uh,
course.
Baker's like, I can't leave now. Stink.
No, it's just if I had to pull up the stream, but
Well, it is that time, but it looks like I might come back before they even start anything. So I will try to be the first person in line to get the boy children, just have them toss them out, let them know I'm on a stream. They usually just do like a football toss and then get them out. So thank you guys. I will be back
Mm-hmm.
shortly. And dear God, what is this?
yeah, let's get to it.
They're
much
still
can I say?
writing.
You're the blue-eyed white dragon lady. Burn in hell. That's victim impact statement.
I know, I could have done this in 5 minutes. Sarah, the list of insults I have is longer than anything that's mitigating, so I'm just going to read those, let the crowd join in, and then we'll sentence you to life. Spadoinkle? Just be done. Bye,
See
you
you in a
guys. I'll
bit.
be back in just a little bit. I will be listening, and which will prompt my kids to say, "Oh my God, this woman sucks at hide and seek. Why is she still on trial? You guys are so boring. Why are you doing this?" Bye.
Bye. And Bad Dog blames the 90s for everything today. You shouldn't do that because the 90s were the best time in the world.
Yeah, the 90s were great.
I got so many rejections and was so drunk. It was amazing.
Well, I think I made it to like 9th grade, so
Oh. There's no beef between Jamie and Mo, but Jamie just chose now to show up.
Hi.
Can you move the subtitles up to the top left corner so Peter A doesn't yell at us?
I haven't seen him though, so
Ugly clothes and bad music. Why did that blonde look like she was about to burst out in laughter? So, Jamie, how are we doing?
I'm good. How was your meeting?
It was an HOA meeting.
I know. It must have been thrilling.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to victim impact statement. It was that bad.
oh,
I don't like.
well, Sarah's got a big thick stack of papers there, written in Sharpie.
I just saw your message.
Yeah, we're good.
Tweak. Oh, there.
I know. I had a really good timing.
Of murder in the second degree. We were running a little bit late this afternoon. I apologize for that. I was in court all morning and took the opportunity to review all of your submittals from earlier this morning, Mr. Owens, including the victim or the character statements, the psychological evaluation by Dr. Harper, the motion for downward departure, the motion for new trial, and the state's response to same. Before we proceed with any sentencing in this matter, the court needs to address the defendant's motion for new trial and the state's response to the defendant's motion for new trial. Anything in addition you'd like to argue at this time, Mr. Owens, over and above what is contained in your motion, sir?
No, sir.
State.
No, sir.
All right. After reviewing the motion and the state's response to
Denied.
same, the defendant's motion for a new trial is denied based on the court's review of the record, the court's participation in the trial, and the review of all the evidence, and the court's prior findings and rulings at trial and prior thereto. With that, I believe that we're prepared to proceed with sentencing at this time. The court has reviewed the pre-sentencing investigation prepared by the Department of Corrections. Are there any housekeeping matters that we need to address, Mr. J or Mr. Cacciatore, before we proceed?
Not from the state.
Are there any housekeeping matters from your side of the ledger, sir, that we need to address, Mr. Owens?
Judge, I do have 4 lay witnesses that are going to testify. And I've got Dr. Harper here to testify. Of course, my client's going to testify. But one of the 4 lay witnesses wants to appear by Zoom. She lives up in Minnesota. I don't know if that's allowed.
We don't have an objection to that. One of our witnesses will be providing an impact statement. Would also like to appear on the court's virtual link as well.
Okay, so stipulated. If you need it, just let Anita know, and I could submit. I can have her email it to you right now. The link.
We do have the link. She's waiting to get on, I guess.
Who might it be, sir? Of several people.
It should be Lana Albert.
She is here, sir. She's in the, she's viewing, her camera's off and she's, microphone is muted, but she's in the lobby.
Okay.
All right, with that, State, you may proceed.
Your Honor, at this time, we would like to take an impact statement from, I believe, Anna Torres, which you will be appearing virtually.
I see several guests, but I do not see a Anna Torres in the virtual.
If your
God.
message is getting deleted, it's probably a YouTube issue because I can't see any messages. Normally, if it's a bot or a mod that does it, it'll say that it happened because this and this did it. So it's a YouTube issue. Try refreshing the window. Sometimes it helped. Zach had 2 weeks where he couldn't do anything. So try refreshing your window.
Lobby, sir.
Well, I think while maybe she's having some issue with logging on, we have.
I heard Vices is in the US right
We can
now.
proceed with those first, sir.
So what did I miss in my computer yeeting me?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Well, new
We're just having
trial
tech
tonight.
issues now.
Please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Blanca Torres.
Okay. Ma'am, you can go ahead.
I just want to tell Sarah Boone that I don't hate her for what she did. And I always remember that evening when that lady came into my door and she knocked at the door. And she asked for my name. I said, I tell her my name. And then she said, can I come in? I said, okay, yes. And she told me to sit down. I never think that was going to be my son. And then she said my son was dead. Since that day, I can't sleep. It's hard for me to remember that moment. My son is not here no more. She don't only kill my son, she killed a father, a brother, an uncle. It's been hard. I'm a family because all the brothers, they always work together. But now it's like something real. Love is missing. Sometimes when I look out the window, I'm waiting for him to come and say, Mom, I love you. She was always there. She come and call me. I miss that mommy. The last time that I talked to him was at 12 o'clock in January, New Year. He came to my bed and said, Mom. He woke me up and I said, Mom, I love you. Happy New Year. And since that day, I don't see him no more. He was my son. I love him. And I miss him a lot. My family miss him a lot too. But I don't hurt. But you know what? I was blessed she ain't gonna be blessed like me because I have my son, I raise him, I have his children, my granddaughter, my grandson, and she don't gonna be able to have that. And I did. I raised him. He wasn't perfect, but he was a good son. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. State anything further from this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, sir.
Thank you. You may call your next victim impact statement.
Victoria Torres.
Will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Ma'am, could you state and spell your name for the record for us, please?
Victoria Torres. My name is Victoria Torres. George is my brother. Unfortunately, my family has experienced two
That's his
horrifying
sister.
tragedies. I just want to make it clear that George deserves justice. As far as my other brother and Sarah deserve to rot in jail. Sarah has caused a lifetime of pain, a lifetime of horrible images, a lifetime of hearing my brother George plead for his life. This is just this moment for all of you. For me and my family, it's forever. Such a simple thing as using a suitcase is so triggering. I try not to close it all the way. I leave at least like 2 or 3 inches for the zipper. And it might sound crazy, but it just helps me. She really has flipped my family's life upside down. And I just hope that we can truly get justice for my brother. And I just want to tell the team, thank you so much for everything we did. And thank you.
Thank you. State anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes.
Thank you.
Your Honor, could we see if Ms. Anna Torres has been able to make it online?
Do not see an Anna Torres in the lobby, sir. I have lots of guests, HHSA, Mr. Beck, Lana Albert, Jason Gunn.
No, the only tear she'll shed
No.
is if focus isn't on her.
Early on, she was smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
Your
Not a good
is there
look.
cap to the link as to the number of?
It's one of his family
knowledge.
members.
Could we just have just a moment?
Yes.
Was that all the victim impact statements? That's nice and sweet.
No, I think they're trying to make sure that one of them is on via Zoom.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to do the thing where the aunt, the uncle, the second cousin, the grocery shop owner is coming in to testify. I like it when it's just the family. It's the family who need closure.
Hmm.
Hey, welcome back, Amica fan.
I think Anna is one of his daughters, but I could be misremembering.
Yeah, I think so too. But she lives in another state.
I want to say she lives in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, because he moved down there. They stayed up there. He
Mhm.
moved down to his family, and his kids stayed up there, I believe. Yes, there will be. She will be as dry as most of the ladies I have hit on.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
That sounds about right. Oh, look, some of his students are back too.
It's to kind of take the tension out of the room, and the blonde law student looked like she was about to crack when she looked at Sarah. She was like she was about to. Yeah, Nightbot turned my camera off. Y'all, it's snowing. Prepare for drivers that act like snow is new for the Midwest. That's a public service notification. I really should sometimes think about what cases we're covering when I say stuff that I shouldn't. That's for the late night edition of Baker. I am a horrible person.
Nah, I've met worse.
Yeah, but you work in the court system and you work with family law. Only children cases has worse people than family law. Hey, Wendy.
No,
hey.
I did work in DCYF stuff for a little while.
Yeah, that's the worst people you meet there.
Yeah. Adoption days were my favorite because it was the one like break of like, yay, someone's getting a happy like moment instead of we're gonna take the kids away, or you know, mom or dad failed again.
I had a good friend of mine who was the caseworker at the city, and she said that was simple. She was in her, I think, early 60s, and she said she changed co-workers so rapidly because all these young ladies come in and want to save the world, and then they find out it's just bureaucracy. And either you'll take the kids or you'll sanction the parents. There's no when they're that far in the system that they're meeting them, that family, yeah, they have problems.
It's very rare they come back out of it.
Yeah, and it's mostly really either bad substance abuse or another abuse.
Yeah.
That makes them.
Yes, sir, Mr. Cacciatore.
Your Honor, after speaking with Mr. Owens, given the fact that the victim's daughter is having difficulties with.
Is that her, Anna Victoria Torres?
Yes, sir.
Is that it?
Finally,
is that who it is?
Hear her.
All right, ma'am, good afternoon. Can you hear us?
Good afternoon. I can hear you.
Okay, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Anna Victoria Torres, ANAVICTORIATORRES.
Thank you, ma'am. I understand.
Don't turn down the audio.
Statement to the court at this time. You may proceed.
Okay. Okay. So I'll be speaking for myself and my two siblings. The murder of our father has impacted us on so many levels and in different ways. I myself, for the first year, would wake up screaming every morning or night, wishing I was having a nightmare, only to wake up to remember all over again that my father is gone and I'll never be able to hear him say he loves me ever again. To know my siblings have been affected in such a way that they are now different. They have had a piece of their heart ripped away from them, all while her son gets to hear his mother's voice and see her alive is pathetic. Because of you, Sarah, my sister is heartbroken. Because of you, Sarah, my brother is left wondering when he will ever see his father again. The loss of my father has left me with chronic depression and anxiety. Seeing any moments of fatherly love or kindness being shown between others in real life or even on TV leaves me in complete shambles. Seeking therapy was a must in order to navigate through my workday without a random breakdown. Thoughts of my father's demise still enter my mind ever so often. I'm left either angry, sad, or sick to my stomach to think of how his final moments were. Jorge Torres, my incredible father. Not only was he my father, but my best friend. My personal comic provided me with wisdom and knowledge, creative and loving dad, an older brother, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, a son, and above all, our father. He was human and deserved to be treated as such. My father, Jorge Torres, was one of a kind, an absolute gem. Unfortunately, his light was dimmed on earth by evilness, but with us, we will forever make his name live on. Especially Sarah, I pray that you see his face when you see him at night. That is it.
Thank you. Anything further, State?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further of this witness?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. State,
Thank you.
anything further?
No other impact statements, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other witnesses or evidence at this point in time, State?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Owens, you may proceed, sir.
Ms. Diane Smith.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, that was a good like selection of people for him for the state.
Yeah, and I like it. They don't bring in everyone. And yes, the audio, as you could hear, it's law and crime that goes up and down with it. I can't do anything. Every time you see me do this is to make sure that I have the audio full and I have the booster on. So thank you, Wendy Yates, for helping.
I have no issue with her being at the podium. If you want to move about the well to conduct your examination, that's fine, counselor. Ma'am, come on up. Come on up to this podium right here, ma'am. If you could raise your right hand, Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in. Ma'am, could you state and
Who is
spell your
this?
name for the record for us, please?
Diane Smith, Diane
Okay, thank you very much. Counselor, you may inquire.
And Ms. Smith, tell the court a little bit about you.
I was a chaplain at the 33rd Street Jail for 30 years.
And have you
It's
been
the
a
street
chaplain at the
jail
here in
preacher.
Orange County?
Yes,
Okay.
Orange County Jail
Is it the same
for
jail
30
you
years.
referred to?
Uh-huh.
And during that period of time, did you have occasion to meet with Sarah Boone?
I did.
And was it over the course of how long?
I've known her 4 years.
And if you could tell the court what you'd like to say.
Okay. Well, I first met Sarah. She came in, we have a Christian dorm, and Sarah enrolled in our Christian program. And she was in my classes for a year. And she was very sincere in her efforts to change her life and to be a better person. And
I've never seen this
Was she?
before, where the victim is questioned by the lawyer, but they also ask if they have any questions. I thought that was just a courtesy. I never.
I
seen
think
this.
this is more a mitigation type thing rather than an impact.
But still,
Look
it's
at-
just it's weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
I found her very helpful. She was kind and good to people. She loved to serve. And she helped the new girls that would come in, the younger girls. She would mother them and be very kind and very helpful. And then after she graduated from the program, I was her counselor for the other 3 years. And I always found her, very sincere and, trying to do better. I spoke with many inmates that knew her and was associated with her. And they spoke very highly
No,
of her. And
she has
said
one
that,
with
she was
Pena.
helpful and kind and tried to help other people. And I just found her to be, very sincere and trying to be a very good person and change and help people.
Oh, stop it.
Was the Bible involved at all?
Oh, yes, it was all spiritual. That's our.
I call
yes,
bull.
Yeah.
It was spiritual growth plus character.
It's the same every time we get someone we have to sentence for anything. They always want to stop doing drugs. They always want to stop doing crimes. They always want to be better people. And I see them again 6 months later, so it doesn't work. It's and we know it, that we can tell when they're just BSing us. So
growth in character, trying to just be a better person in general. She liked to serve other people, she would help the girls wash their clothes and show them around and teach. But spiritually, she grew very, very great spiritually.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, so
Hang
she
on,
found
just one
religion.
second.
Ma'am?
Hang on just one second, Ms. Smith. State, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
I'd like to call up Christina Pino.
Oh, that's the girlfriend.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Oh, we're getting paid.
Yeah.
Now, come on up again. Where's your right hand, ma'am? Clerk's gonna go ahead and swear you in.
Do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth,
Sarah checking out that booty.
Ma'am, if you could state and spell your name for the record for us.
Christina Pena, Christina Pena.
All right, you may inquire, sir.
How old are you?
31,
And where do you live?
Orlando.
Now, it's my understanding, Ms. Penna, that you were in the county jail with Sarah Boone.
Yes.
How long were y'all in the same cell together?
Yes, about I was in there for 4 years, but we were together for 3.
And I understand ultimately the charges against you were dismissed.
Mhm.
And so you were released on what day?
April 4th this year.
2024?
2023.
2023. So you've been out for a pretty while.
I've been out for like 6 or so months now. Yeah.
No. If you were released on April 21st, 2023, you've been out for a year and a half. Imagine.
I think it was this year. that she
Yeah, it
got
was this
out.
year, but imagine not being able to remember what year you get out of the pen. You've been in the pen too much.
Mm-hmm.
Since April of this year, actually. Sorry.
April of 2024. And you said y'all were bunkmates there together for about 3 years.
Yeah.
I would assume that y'all got to know each other pretty well.
We did.
And if you could, if you'd like to speak on her behalf to the judge.
Yes. Sarah's one of my best friends, my only.
Take your time.
She's helped me a lot.
She got me
Spiritually
teased.
and like growing and she helps everybody. She's always, I don't know, spirit. She helped me a lot, and she would come to me. She talked to me all the time and pick me up when I was down, or if I didn't know something. She just good. I don't know. She was a good person to me. She just mistakes happen. She always helped. She always helped people. She was always helping everybody in the dorm. She even like her artwork. She did art. Anybody need any help or needed anything, they'd come to her and they'd help. She'd help them. And even if they, did wrong to her, she would still go back and help them and praise
As
with
long as they're
them
not
and
hair braiders.
pray over them and everything.
Yeah.
It's just
And was she a little bit older than you?
Yeah.
How much older was she?
40 in her 40s.
Did you think of her as maybe an aunt or a big sister?
A big sister, yeah, she was like a big sister, like a sister I never had.
Sure.
Because I have brothers, so I never, we clicked right away. I don't know. We'd be walking out in the backyard, and she just would always try and talk to me, but I'm a quiet person, and I don't trust a lot of people. So for me to open up and trust somebody, it's a lot. So.
And obviously y'all are there under difficult circumstances. And
Yeah.
she assists you in getting through that.
Yes, and she helped me a lot with my my case, and I would help her with with hers too. We're both. Justice is not what it is. I don't know how.
Bless you.
We both helped each other out. I don't know.
Ms. Danielle, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any questions, State?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
Ms. Hill? Judge.
Yes, sir.
After Ms. Hill, I want to take Ms. Howard.
Yes, sir.
I do.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state and spell
It
your
really
name for
is
the record
weird.
for us?
My name is Mariela Hill, Mariela, last name Hill, Hill.
Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Ms. Hill, briefly tell us a little bit about yourself.
I met Sarah in jail. I
Oh.
spent 3 months in jail and went through a lot of unfortunate circumstances.
How come she doesn't have any friends that haven't been in jail?
This was in the Orange County Jail here in Orlando.
Orange County.
As someone said, it looks like jail is a really good place for Sarah. She makes friends. Maybe they will let her poop on her toilet.
It's because they're
Doesn't
not
she have
around her
lifetime
long
friends
enough.
outside of jail? Like, come on.
Yeah, but that neighbor, she snitched to ICE and wanted to bomb her toilet.
She burned all those bridges.
Yeah, well, she pooped on them.
Oh my
When would
God.
that have been? Do you recall the date
Yes, it was April, from April to June of this year.
of this year,
2024,
2024?
correct. Yes.
And did you develop?
Oh, this is the
a
one who took over
relationship
when
with
Pena
Sarah
got
Boone
released.
Over the course of that 3 months?
Yes, yes. We met when I was moved to the B dorm. And
These girls are way too pretty for her.
with B form that I needed to complete, and one of the CEOs pointed to Sarah to
What's
help
with the
me out.
audio?
And since that moment, we.
Yeah, Mike, can you check out if Court TV has better audio?
She was so helpful, so kind, so respectful and loving, not just to me, but to everyone. And I have nothing but good things to say about her, her character, her loving heart, and how deep her faith is, her faith in God and believing in justice for everyone. So that's what I believe.
State any questions.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hill. I appreciate it.
I think it was just that witness.
Ms.
The
Albert,
witness was
good
really quiet
afternoon,
on
ma'am.
Court TV
Can you
too.
hear me? This is Judge Kranick. And if you can, I would ask you to turn on your camera and unmute yourself at this time, please.
Sir, how do I unmute my or turn on my camera? I know how to unmute, but I'm not sure how to turn the camera on.
Oh my Lord.
Turn the volume down.
Turn the volume down.
So, ma'am,
Is that better?
when you
I'm
joined
glad I
the
made
link,
popcorn.
there should have been an option for like a pull down on the left-hand side of the screen for you to open on or turn on a camera. I don't know what device you're appearing on, if it's a cell phone or a laptop.
It is an iPhone. Should I try to re-enter the room?
Yeah, try to do that. There should be an
It sounds like
option
someone who
for
smokes a lot of
you
cigarettes.
to pick a camera.
Back a day.
And you'll either select the default camera.
Oh, that's
and
more than a
hopefully we'll
back.
be able to see you at that time.
Touche.
Okay, let me just give me 1 second.
Did we catch the name on this one?
No.
Sorry.
I did not. They're saying everything so fast, I can't hear.
Yeah. Court TV's got it basically the same.
Yeah, it's just poor audio because we had
Yeah.
the same problem doing trial. If they weren't speaking directly into the microphone, you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this could be the liquor store manager. I
Yeah, but
miss
didn't they
Sarah.
just go to Costco? Or what? Or Kroger? Didn't they go to a grocery store?
He went to a Publix.
There we go.
It's a guy
Did that
at
work? Can you
Publix
see me?
'cause she's there all the time.
I cannot.
Shoot. Yeah, it's saying default camera. It's saying front camera. I chose it. It didn't show my face or anything like that.
Oh, it is a boy. Oh, maybe it's a boy?
Yeah. Imagine having to do tech while you're live at court. Goodness gracious. I'd be so
State-
embarrassed.
I have no objection to the witness making their statement here telephone.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, Miss Albert, good afternoon. If you could just state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Okay.
Certainly. Lana, Lana, Albert, Albert.
Okay. All right, Mr. Owens is going to
Be
ask you
related
some
to
questions. And if you could just
Miss
answer them, ma'am,
Alberts.
I would greatly appreciate it. Sir, you can proceed.
Miss Albert, do you have the ability to turn your volume down?
No, because we can hear her.
Yes, I just did. I can't hear you very well when I do that, though.
You can't hear me?
Why?
I can hear you, but very, very quietly.
How about now?
How does?
Because if
Yes,
she
I can hear
turns
you. Am I
down
okay?
her volume,
Yeah, you sound a lot better. You were too loud earlier.
Oh my God! Who
Okay.
cares?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear
Who
you.
cares?
All right, Miss Albert, tell the court a little bit about yourself briefly.
Well, I live in Minnesota. I currently have end-stage renal disease. Before I became disabled, I was a business owner in the Twin.
Oh, she's the one who got the lawyers. The person in Minnesota that convinced him to take the case.
Cities here.
All right, and how old are you?
I am 50 years old.
All right, and you're considered disabled?
Yes, I am.
All right, and have you had an occasion since this event to establish a relationship with Sarah Boone?
Yes, I have. We have been friends for the past a little over 11 months.
And how?
11 months.
We've communicated a lot of phone calls, lots of tablet back and forth, and a lot of letters as well. I'd say many hours of time spent with each other.
All right, and do you want to speak on her behalf here today?
I would, please.
All right, would you please
Did
tell
they
the
say
court
how
what
they
you
met?
would like for the court to know?
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Your Honor, for the privilege of speaking on behalf of my friend Sarah Boone. I also want to extend my heartfelt condolences to everyone here affected by this terrible tragedy, which has brought us all here and listening in. Many articles and videos and opinions of Sarah have gone out in the airways and on the webs. Opinions that have been formed and commented on so much that it's hard not to give into the temptation to treat people like a comic book or a fictional character. In the case of my friend Sarah, the words narcissist, Karen, villain, many other things, they roll off the tongue with little regard to the humanity that is dismissed so flippantly. And under a lot of circumstances, I was one of those people, as I have a love of true crime. And becoming friends with Sarah has shown me that there's a lot more depth to the people I see on the screen. I'd like to share with the world and with the court about the Sarah Boone that I know. Sarah Boone is a kind, honest, and good person.
You've known her for
The
11
Sarah Boone
months.
I know is one who loves animals, especially the kind who are damaged and defenseless. How many of us would take in and pour love for a hearing impaired and a sight impaired pair of dogs? She has a natural instinct to help reach out and give of herself.
that
Her
doesn't
time
make
and
her a
energy and
good
love, especially to those
person.
who are hurting or damaged. You all have seen her fight for her own life and truth here. I tell you this, she fights even harder for those she loves, giving time, attention, and companionship without a single thought for her own gain or what somebody can do for her. And one huge example is in the matter of our friendship. As I said before, I have end-stage renal disease caused by a genetic illness called polycystic kidney disease. As my life has progressed, things I have taken for granted have been taken away from me. I could not appear in court in person because I can no longer walk, as my dialysis treatments have affected the
It's a
circulation
lady.
of my legs and has confined me to a wheelchair. To say that my life has radically
Did
changed
this
is an
lady miss
understatement.
like all of the videos that were talking
Through it all,
like
I have many friends and family
to
I love
Jorge,
and
like a
cherish.
complete human piece
Sarah
of
has distinguished herself
trash.
differently in this way. In the course of getting to know her, I started sharing the progressing state of my health. It was like lightning had struck her. The moment Sarah had learned the depth of my struggles health-wise, she straight up offered strenuously to donate a kidney to me.
Oh my God.
I got to tell you this. I hope she's not mad for me showing this, but she had no hesitation, no concern over personal risk or personal gain. I want to convey to this out and around the world that is merely offering is a good and heroic act. I've had many friends. I've not had one outside of my brother who has offered me a kidney. That is huge.
I wouldn't take a kidney from Sarah. It has ventilated a lot of alcohol through it.
Well, she
Yeah,
probably
she's-
doesn't qualify because she's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like, Imagine knowing somebody for just 11 months and just thinking she's the saint of all saints. You've never met this woman. You know how easy it is to write
She'd also
letters
have
and
to
sound like an amazing person.
she'd also have to give up drinking if she ever did get out, because you can't, like, your kidneys filter out everything. So if you lose one kidney and are only living on one, they often tell you you cannot drink alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all the words she said, she listened to me. Can we take a poll for sentencing? I can't do one over on most channels, sadly, Swifty, but I'll do one. Thank you for reminding me. I need to do one over on mine, but Mo will probably do it as soon as he comes back.
I don't have anything of equal value to give to her. And that's not the actions of a narcissist. She did it as a reflex action. As a good
Because she
person.
knew it was easy.
It's easy because she
I
knew
was
it wasn't going to
on her
happen.
in October. We spoke that night. And I hope Sarah doesn't get mad at me again for disclosing this, but out of all the shock and seriousness of what had happened in the court, the thing that made her emotionally break was that she realized she
Why
could
is
no
the
longer
daughter
be a
back
donor
on?
to me.
Why are we showing the daughter?
I mean, I was sitting there like, hey, it's going to be okay. But she was so broken up, she couldn't help me. That's a friend. She is not.
No, that's a narcissist.
Nor does she come up anywhere remotely close to being a narcissist. Now, one more thing before I go.
No,
I'm
I'm
not
not.
a-
Social media
not a
has worked to rip the
biologist.
blindfold off of Lady Justice, to take the sword out
Your
of her right
the liver
hand and
filters
start
out most of it, but it does
assassinating
not
Sarah's
filter
character.
everything.
However, the scales are the balance. As it says in Psalm 85, mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Justice isn't justice without mercy. Our pursuit of righteousness isn't complete and right without peace. Thank you, Your Honor, for the honor of speaking for my friend Sarah Boone. I hope that your justice is mixed with mercy here today. Thank you.
State, any questions? No, Your Honor. Any follow-up, Mr. Owens?
No, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Albert. I appreciate you.
Like to call Dr. Harper? You want her on the stand or?
Talk with your doctor evaluation team to know if you can donate. In most cases, if you drink alcohol in moderation, up to 1 drink a day for a woman, you can likely move forward with donating a kidney. So,
Yeah, one drink though.
yeah. And Panilla, these wine gums with white chocolate and chili strawberry is great.
I'm okay with her on the stand.
On the stand?
No, she can be right now. Yes, sir.
Be right now. Yes, sir. Oh.
I don't see Kevin.
Dr. Harper?
No, she'd be at the podium. That's fine. Dr. Daphne, if you could please raise your right hand, Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in. If you could, Doctor, state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Dr. Julie Harper, Julieharper.
All right, thank you. Counselor, you may inquire.
And Dr. Harper, we all know we were here a few weeks back for the trial, and your testimony, so the judge knows quite a bit about your testimony, but if you could, I know that you prepared a report, and we have submitted that to the court, which the court has read, and the state has a copy. And I don't know if you want to refer to that or just speak on wrong about Sarah Boone and what you did to assess her, and then any opinions that you want to express.
All right. I think that during trial testimony, I reviewed all of the documents, excuse me, and all of the records that were available. They're documented in my report as well. In addition to the forensic clinical interviews that I conducted, I also have had the opportunity to talk to her brother, Philip Paulson, in the interim since the trial, and I included his information in my report as to her family background.
If you could, give the court a synopsis of what your findings are, or and what you uncovered maybe from the brother, or whatever you think the court needs to hear in this relevant material to his decision.
So referring to the summary section of my report, I'll keep it a brief, but I'll outline the highlights that I feel like haven't been conveyed before, which is an understanding of Ms. Boone's early family life, in that she is the middle child of her parents' union, and that her parents did not have a happy marriage. They didn't provide an opportunity to have a good role model as to how to have a partnership together. Ms. Boone was born in close proximity to her youngest brother, 11 months apart. And in my clinical experience and training, I would say that that disrupted her attachment with her mother, some being close in proximity with her younger brother, who's...
My sister and I are 18 months apart, so I am suffering for the same detachment issue, or is those 7
How does
months?
she explain twins who are born and raised at the same time, if that's the case?
How do they explain nursemaids who was used for hundreds of years for the upper class who took the
Right.
kids?
Like,
It's always the parents' fault.
temperament just seemed to suit a relationship with her mother better than her own. So ultimately, Ms. Boone bonded with her father, though he wasn't described by either child as an affectionate person. He was somebody that was there for her at sporting events and more of a primary parent for her in that way. His untimely death by heart attack during her high school years was marked by her brother as a turning point for her in how she was acting at home. Her demeanor, her relationship with her mother took a turn for the worse as she was not coping well. She was using substances based on what her brother was saying. And it is my opinion that that early lack of foundational relations with her mom and not feeling very secure, the death of her father, destabilized her. That's a period of your life when you're leaving high school, when you should have formed a very solid foundation to go out in the world. And I don't think that that's what she had at that moment. She bonded easily with Mr. Boone.
But she was a straight A
you can see
student.
that there are elements of that early difficulty with her relationships because she took on a parentified role, in my opinion, during that relationship. And therefore, there's a power imbalance in that she was making decisions and not, again, having an equal relationship. I think that that led her to a sense of being a need to be right, a need to feel like she is the one that's making good decisions, to have some ego support by being in the right all the time with Mr. Boone. And I think that that led to some behaviors that she carried over into her relationship with Mr. Torres, in that she's parentified around him and acting more like a parent-child relationship, being a facilitator of housing and applications for jobs and things like that. So again, there's a power imbalance that I think was very seriously misaligned, as her brother and the property manager of their apartment had verified. They saw her being abused, physically abused in serious ways, or the effects of the abuse in bruising or calls to them. It is my opinion that she called for help, but when people got tired of her not leaving Mr. Torres, they stopped responding to those calls. And basically, Ms. Boone handled things on her own. And as other people with healthier boundaries probably would have left, she being acting out the pattern of intimate partner violence did not leave. She stayed long past when it would have been smart for others, or others would have said to leave, sorry. The undergirding of that not leaving the relationship is a long-term anxiety problem that became post-traumatic stress disorder. There is an earlier instance of exposure to traumatic stress in that she was the person in the hospital.
But what you're saying now is she can't be helped because this is long time stress.
Right.
So never give her leniency, because she will never be anything than a product of her upbringing. It was her mom's fault because she liked her brother better. It was her dad's fault because he died. And it was her friend's fault because she didn't leave Jorge. When does Sarah have any responsibility? I hate shrinks, even those I've used. I hate them because everything is never what it is. It's always something
I
else.
hate this argument of her dad died in high school, and because she was closer to him, that like it spiraled her out in adulthood. My dad died when I was 17. Like, the first conversation I had with my mom was her threatening to get her lawyer after me for his death certificate. You want to talk about messed up parenting? Like, yet I still went on and fought and got through college and law school. Like, that's not, like, you get help. You do things like to better yourself. You don't blame everyone else.
You either go up or you go down. That's the thing. But if you go down, you can't blame everything else. You have a responsibility to take. If anyone read Kierkegaard, I know a lot of Americans like to learn Danish to read Kierkegaard. It's a lot of bullshit, but people like it. He has one ground sentence, and that is, you are only human if you make choices. If you don't make choices and just flow like the river, you're not a human being, because you don't change anything.
Yeah.
And that's Sarah apparently couldn't make any choices. Everyone else chose for her. So she's just a product of everyone else. I hate these arguments.
Well, and like, I get that, maybe the brother wasn't as close to the dad, but he still lost his dad too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but it's never the same. Well, it has to. You forgot the attachment issue with the mom because she didn't get breastfed enough.
That's ridiculous.
Hate these people.
Who found him having students perform CPR on his dead body. So that was an early exposure to high traumatic stress, witnessing that incident. And based on her brother's description, that was something that changed her. When a person is exposed to numerous compounding stressors, their adrenaline system is changed. It alters your body. And things that might be an otherwise
Yeah, but she believes it. I bet you
have
she
a
believes all the
cascading
crap
adrenaline
she's saying.
response to that. And I think that ultimately for her, as she succumbed to other instances of serious physical abuse from her partner, became post-traumatic stress disorder. I do think that is a condition that is still existent even while she's in jail. It's something that she needs treatment for because those triggers are unmitigated, meaning that she hasn't really had the kind of therapy to address them and reduce her adrenaline and anxiety responses when she thinks of past instances of traumatic events that have
that's
happened.
her own fault for not seeking help.
You can also
they went to counseling. Her and Brian went to counseling
clinically by using antidepressant therapy, and that would be something that could assist her ultimately in reducing symptoms if she had counseling and antidepressant therapy.
Now, Dr. Harper, I know you testified in trial that, in your opinion, she suffered as a
Any problem glasses is still babbling.
Now we have Dr. Harper now to tell you everything is because she wasn't breastfed enough.
I heard that. Apparently she took on a parentified role for Mr. Boone. Sure, Mr. Boone would like to be asked questions about that. But you know what strikes me as odd is that I've known people that have lost their parents. I've known people that their parents aren't great role models for anything close to a functional relationship. Oddly, a lot of us that have all of that and a close sibling that we didn't ask for. Again, I was perfect when I came out. I don't know why you had to try to repeat it. No, I've never left someone in a suitcase.
No. It's I breastfed for a month and then my mom got sick, so I know
I don't even think I was breastfed.
But every book says if you haven't been breastfed, back then it was 4 months, you would turn out autistic or anything. And I'm fine.
That's correct.
And I understand that that is tied to this intimate partner violence, which is maybe the same thing, but there's a complex mental health issue that ties into that. Can you speak on the complexity of that whole
I'm not from the 60s.
that one such as Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres were involved in?
Certainly.
Audio.
So intimate partner violence is not a diagnosis. It's a pattern of events that occur between two partners in which the power dynamic is altered by the physical abuse or behaviors that are controlling in nature to the point that someone's safety is threatened. It's common for victims of that to have a complex mental health condition, often including depression, anxiety, and substance abuse problems. And what might be substance
She already
abuse
had substance abuse problems before she was getting all abused.
will sometimes result in its own diagnosis.
Yeah, because that
The
was because of her
pattern
dad.
intimate partner
Then
violence,
the
I
other
think,
one.
recovered in the trial, but
When
just
has
in
it ever been
summary,
Sarah's
about that, there are phases
problem that she
in
bought
which
the handle of
first
vodka?
bonding of the two partners might be something
Or zip the
positive.
suitcase.
They've got something in common or have pleasurable time together. And then the secondary phase of that is when there is change in dynamic and some kind of traumatic event occurs, some instance of physical violence. And then there's a third phase in which it's like a honeymoon phase where they're trying to right the relationship. So in phase one, when they're having something pleasurable, the tone shifts. Phase two, there is some kind of incident. And phase three, there's a honeymoon phase. As that pertains to anxiety, I think that a person who suffers from intimate partner violence never stops experiencing that hypervigilance, waiting for the next instance of violence to occur. So even though they may look happy, they might be experiencing something positive, they've not really relaxed because their memory that could or will occur again is still in their mind. So they haven't fully stopped experiencing intimate partner violence. It's just what phase of the process they're in.
Now, and Dr. Harper, it goes into more detail in your report, which I supplied to the court, which is a total of 11 pages, and I believe that's confidential.
That's what's been marked. I don't believe it's been filed in the court file.
Okay.
If it has, that's something if it needs to be, it's something we can address. I have reviewed it. It does reflect confidential privilege information on the first page. I don't believe it's been filed in the court file unless you did it. Okay. It already has been? All right, appreciate it. Okay, excellent. Thank you, sir.
And Dr. Harper, you're aware that the defense has filed a defense motion for downward departure.
Yes.
And we've listed several factors under paragraph 3, the capacity of the defendant to appreciate the criminal nature of her actions and conform with the requirements of law or substantially impaired, that she requires specialized treatment for a mental disorder that is not related to substance use or addiction, although you agree that she does suffer from alcohol use disorder.
So she has an underlying mental health disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I additionally diagnosed her with alcohol use disorder, which is separate.
But you agree she does require specialized treatment for a mental disorder that's not related to the substance abuse or addiction?
That's correct.
And you agree she's amenable for treatment?
Yes.
And you would agree that she.
Then why hasn't she gotten it?
In this unique.
Oh, we are not Amy Winehousing you. We are not sending you to rehab.
Uniqueness of the circumstances, the facts and circumstances surrounding the case.
She should be rehabbed now. She's been in prison for
Yes.
3 years.
Isolated.
That's my understanding as well.
Other than she had the charge, which both of them were charged at one time, and I think she had the strangulation allegation, the felony case that was ultimately dismissed when both of them were arrested.
She had a prior felony case. Facts are different, of course, than this particular case we're going today.
Dr. Harper, I believe that's all the questions I've got, unless you would like to say if I've missed anything, of course.
No.
Okay, and if not, it's in the report.
Yes.
Any questions?
Yes, can she take a stand so I can take the podium?
Yes, that's fine.
Oh God, why? No, let penny problem glasses go.
No, I want him to hammer all the points we have been yelling that does he has any responsibility?
True, you're
Pages 1
right.
and 2 of your report, you go through the sources of your information, correct? Yes. And that would include 8 interviews that you had with her from the course of August of 2020 through September of 2024, correct?
There were 9 interviews, but 8 dates of service are listed.
You did the Miller Forensic Assessment of Symptoms Test, or MFAST.
That's right.
Inventory of Legal Knowledge, ILK.
That's right.
Clinician Administered PTSD Scale 5 examination.
Yes.
You consulted with her attorney.
Yes.
Videotaped interviews from this court case number of Sarah Boone, interview part 1 and 2, Abraham Moreno interview, Brandon Motes interview, Brian Boone interview, Juan Torres interview.
Yes, and she
Melissa
claimed he
Sexton
kicked
interview,
her.
Correct?
Yes.
You reviewed the autopsy photos.
Yes.
You reviewed some of the digital forensic exhibits, including the Apple iPhone XS and the Samsung SMJ 327 T1 photographs from those 2 devices.
Yes.
You reviewed Bates stamped discovery pages 1 through 413.
That's correct.
The crime scene photos are
Why is she
photos of the scene
smiling?
taken on June 19th of 2020.
She likes being on the stand.
Some women do that instead of
Aspire
looking
Health
nervous, they
records?
tend to smile. I notice
Who do
I
those
do
pertain
that
to?
sometimes.
Okay.
Aspire Health records are for Sarah Boone.
Florida Hospital
Yeah,
Medical Group
I laugh
records?
and smile when I'm nervous.
And who do
That's
those
fair.
records pertain to?
That is also for Sarah Boone.
And Aspire, is that a mental health treatment facility?
It has an emergency department record, but that would be the place where she was detained under the Baker Act.
And it is routine and common in
Someone
practice
Baker
of
acted
forensic
her?
psychology or psychiatry to
Why didn't
rely
everyone
on
Baker act her?
other such practitioners.
As a source of information, sure.
You reviewed the deposition of Dr. Tanya Warner.
I did.
You reviewed the trial testimony of Sarah Boone, Brian Boone, Dr. Michael Brannon, Dr. Tanya Werner, correct?
Yes.
The jury verdict form dated 10/25/24.
Yes.
Witness list notice of filing amended
Yes.
on this case. Records of Jorge Torres or George Torres involving case numbers 2019 MM 5114, a 911 call and PDF, case 2019 MM 7193, case 2019 MM 7193, Torres Public Records, case 2019 MM 7193, Torres Photos, Central Florida Primary Care Records, Advent Health Orlando Medical Records, correct?
Yes.
And those latter records that I just mentioned, those for Mr. Torres and not Ms. Boone, correct?
That's right.
Then you reviewed Sarah Boone written correspondence, Sarah's listing of domestic violence incidents, Sarah's writings regarding missing days of work and Baker Act, and a 74-page life story.
Sarah.
That's right.
And
I'm sorry,
then
did you just say a
case 2018
74-page life story?
Yeah. Then I went to get a handle of vodka. We drank that. We did arts and craft, and I got a handle of vodka. We made a puzzle. I got a handle of vodka.
I mean,
10573, public records and photos,
Yes.
and a telephone interview with Melissa Sexton, the property manager, which you conducted on October 1st, 2024,
Yes.
and a telephonic interview with Philip Paulson, the defendant's brother, on November 26, 2024.
Yes.
Where has Ms. Boone been housed and living since February of 2020?
At the Orange County Jail.
And does the Orange County Jail provide mental health services to inmates?
It does.
And you already testified you would routinely, as a forensic psychologist, review records kept of a psychological or psychiatric treatment of a patient or a client, correct?
Yes.
Oh my God,
In this
please,
particular
please
case,
tell
have
me
you
she did some
reviewed,
artwork
any
and you
mental
have
health
pictures of
records,
that.
generated by the Orange County Jail for Ms. Boone.
No, I have not had the opportunity to do that.
So for the last 58 months or so, if she was being seen by the mental health treatment staff at the jail, you have not reviewed those records.
That's correct.
And they are overseen
that
at the
be
jail, the
important?
Orange County Jail, by a psychiatrist. Are you aware or not?
Why should she talk with professionals who might have a differing opinion? That would ruin her testimony. Her testimony she's getting paid to do.
Yeah, was this also the one
Yeah.
that complained about the like court fee?
Yes.
That'll do it.
If the person's level of mental health intervention deems them eligible for psychiatry, then they will.
And any diagnosis or lack of diagnosis that they have had during the course of the last 58 months, you are unaware of because you did not review the records.
That's right.
I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect examination?
No, I'm not.
No.
All right, thank you.
I don't even know where I would find
Dr.
that.
Harper, I didn't ask you to review those records yet. did I?
No.
Thank you.
Judge, I believe you said it at the very beginning that I had submitted several letters on behalf of Ms. Boone, and she didn't hear that, but I wanted her to be made aware.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you don't actually read those letters into the record, but you did read them.
I have reviewed them. They're in my binder here.
Oh my God, what did her fans write? Crayon, sparkly crayon.
She
Puff
wants everything read. And I'm still thinking there will be one from Legal Vices. She talked a lot about Korea.
I am just shocked that Give Me a Kidney lady is like, I was like, she's like, there has been a lot of speculation and conjecturisms. And I was like, thanks for noticing, sweetie. I love you too. I probably wouldn't give you a kidney either because, well, I mean,
I would claim I would give you a kidney because I knew.
oh yeah. If I needed someone to talk for me when I was going to prison.
It doesn't seem because he would be on the other side and he hasn't chosen to. And he's not impacted by this.
How many do I have? Yes. Give me a second. I can tell you.
Oh, she has
I
more
have-
letters not. Jemima is right now writing the FOIA. Give us the impact statement.
I
I
have
don't know if you
6
can get those.
handwritten
They
letters.
might get scanned into the record after.
First one is 1 page. Second one is 2 pages. Third one is 1 page. Fourth one is 2 pages. Fifth one is 2 pages. Sixth one is 2 pages. I have a typed letter from Diane Smith, the assistant chaplain. I have another typed letter from a Nicole Ray, a typed letter from a Stephanie L., a typed letter from Philip Paulson, a email from Lana Albert, 2 pages
And
in
one from
length,
Acra
a
to ask me
2-page
if I want
email
my
from a
car's
Danielle
extended
Parsons.
warranty.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I would like to call Sarah Boone.
You may proceed.
Oh, here we go,
Yes,
y'all.
please.
Oh,
God.
Get your
Please,
emotional
audio
support
be good.
squishy.
come on,
Audio.
adios.
Audio.
Oh, the moldering dumbness that's going to come out of this.
Ms. Boone, you can be seated. You've been previously sworn.
Futuristically, I would like to statarize. that
Okay,
did
I'm
one.
just loving the T-Rex arms.
Just state your name again.
She can go with that lady from Australia, the breakdancing lady.
Now, this is unlike a trial. So you're allowed to speak in a narrative form, as well as I understand you have taken some notes or written a letter that you want to
Look at all the
release
stats.
from,
She's
and
like,
then you want to speak to the court after that.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and get started?
This is actually an edited version.
oh.
Oh, not the abridged version, but the King James. Let's go. Not NIV. Come on now.
I had a lot to say. I've had a lot of time to think about things, and I didn't really know how to put it on paper. And I didn't know how much I could say or how little I should say. So what I have here is, like I said, an edited version. But I would like to read the more important parts that I feel that everyone should know that wasn't said in my actual trial. And on top of what I have on paper, I have, this is just the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg.
The tip.
So I wanted to read this, and then if I may, I would like to address everyone in my apology on top of my statement.
You may proceed, ma'am.
Oh God! Dramatic pause.
Kintu
William
Sukuroi
Shatner.
is a kind of Japanese ceramic style which means to repair with gold. In this tradition, when a ceramic piece breaks, an artisan will fuse the pieces back together again using liquid gold or gold dust lacquer. So rather than being covered up, the breaks become more obvious and a brilliant new piece of art emerges from the brokenness. It embraces
You're
flaws,
comparing
weakness, and
yourself to
imperfections,
brilliant
and
art.
also teaches the essence of resilience. Every crack in a ceramic piece is a part of its history, and each piece becomes more beautiful because it has been broken. This is the wisdom of Kintu Sukuroi. In my wisdom and with all of my repairs, then, now, and ongoing, God is, has been, and will always be my artisan. All of my gold is forgiveness. This has held me together, made me shine brighter, and overcome the damage caused by Jorge Torres, the Torres family, the justice system.
Oh, bitch, you
Orange
did
County
not.
Corrections Department.
I mean, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. It snuck out. Thank you, Jedi
We
Jess.
just passed 2 hours.
I was literally doing that while she was going. I was like, I'm gonna need this.
Okay, I don't care whatever bullshit Aki you learned about from, but your beautiful mess killed another person. That's not going to be gilded in gold. You are a hot mess wrapped up in sinister and snark and slime and a grandiose personality. None of that is gold.
I love when you have been found guilty by a jury of your peers. You start out by saying, I read some stupid stuff about ceramics in Japan, and now God will heal me from the damages done to me by Jorge Torres, his family, and the court system.
If you would like to change your vote to life after this, you are free to realize you've done a mulligan and you need to go back to lifer.
But like, his family was like, I can't hate her. Like, I don't hate her. Yada yada yada. They showed far more grace than like this woman deserves. Like,
Well, she's the real victim, Jedi. Haven't you
Yeah.
met her?
yeah,
And like Jesus, she will rise again in 3 days.
that's scary.
Did we not expect this? Because I did.
I
forced
expected it. I didn't think it was going to be this dumb right off the bat.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
thought
did.
she'd like be nice a little bit and then get into it. I didn't think it was just instantly going to be bam, the audacity.
I hope, like in the shaver case, the judge will pay special notice that she didn't show any remorse.
No.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
and-
I think them brows are catching this because he just went. That's why they didn't show his face, because he just went. Just like the judge that said, wait, everyone slept with your mother-in-law? This witness is not released until I get some answers about this question.
And Crispy Bacon, I'm dying listening to this. You are help me. Let's go back and see how much more retarded she can sound.
Social media, scoundrel detectives, infamy, defamation, ongoing
detectives!
constitutional rights violations.
Wait, does this make
second-degree
us?
murder, forced into being
I take
pro se.
offense to that.
Just as gold is very precious, forgiveness is invaluable.
God, you better hope God forgives you, because I don't even know if he's going to be on your side.
Forget who, what, or how you've lived through to be so gold, but an act of grace, humility, and considerable self-compassion
You're a lump
to
of
be set
poop,
free
not
from
gold.
sorrow. Withholding forgiveness denies your brilliance and adds even greater grief and deeper heartache. Irreparable cracks on top of the already that no one deserves, no matter the pain or disappointment, untruths or injustice. It doesn't matter.
All of the super chats are read. This is torture. It's not on my screen, luckily enough. But, thank you, Marissa. But I really hate that the Christmas theme they're doing on YouTube.
As the
Oh, I
more
didn't even
broken
notice
you
that.
are, even though now different than before, you've become more outstanding and more extraordinary. Above all, when you let go of blame, misunderstandings, excuses, give up your anger and cease from resentment, this is forgiven. And when
Really,
you
because I'm
forgive,
sensing a lot of
you have
resentment here.
And when you forgive,
I'm about to
you
take
heal.
on a grudge
And
for
when
the
you heal, you
family.
move forward.
Right?
My goal begins with Jorge Torres, and every time he slapped me, kicked, punched, spit on, raped, stabbed, choked, laughed at, pushed.
That
Jemima, question. Can a judge say, you stop it now, young lady? This is a victim impact statement. This is a sentencing. We had the trial. You were found guilty. Can he do that technically?
Yeah, technically he can.
I mean, didn't
you could say it's outside of the purview of this hearing. You were not here to relitigate. Do I think he's going to? No, because I think he's going to let her hang herself so that way, even if she appeals, they could be like, well, he was pretty founded in what he decided on your sentence.
I like a good stupidity, but I'm actually flabbergasted that you can get yourself. You were found guilty in unaliving, and no one believes you didn't do it. No one.
Yeah.
Even the ones who talked for you today know you did it. And
The
now you're
ones
going to
that
sit and
talk-
shit on a dead person.
The ones
Yeah.
that talked about let's go back about the ones that talked about her. They euphemized it, so they were like an unpleasantness, a bad mistake, an oopsie. In fact, the only one was Kidney Lady, who was like, I would also like to apologize to the family and or friends of Jorge Torres. You know, good God, ma'am. I've seen more humanity on the Hindenburg.
It's and again, I think that's why it's an
Oh hell! I
edited
just realized.
note.
Yeah, this is the edited version. What was in the non-edited version?
The parts
Yeah,
where
that
she
was,
said sorry, she edited those out because they weren't gold lined anymore. She done forgiven
it was
herself.
just her, but she just wrote in 2.5 hours of this.
I forgot that this is
Pulled,
an edited
dragged,
version.
whipped, tripped, stole from, lied, terrorized, threatened, humiliated, forced, degraded, made me cry. Every
Made you
time he
cry.
tried to end me, defeat, or destroy. I forgive George for beating me senseless, for trying to sleep
Oh,
because I
ma'am,
had to
you
go to
didn't
work
have
or my son's
sense.
field trip the next day.
You've never
For ruining my
worked.
deceased family's heirlooms, traditions, and keepsakes, my son's furniture, destroying the television we watched together. For wrecking our townhome by breaking windows, punching holes in the walls and doors, ramming his entire body into glass doors, kicking in my front and back door
His
over and
entire
over
body?
and over.
He's
For
all
breaking
100
or removing the
pounds?
locks from all of the doors and sometimes the knobs altogether, so I had nowhere to feel safe, including the sacred space of my son's room where he beat me bloody on his bed. For terrorizing and threatening my blind and deaf dogs by leaving the gate open I built to keep them safe, telling me he hoped I'd find their bloated dead body in the pond or scrape their remains off of the pavement, for kicking them off of the bed and throwing across the room because they were trying to protect me. For threatening to make me unrecognizable to my son by breaking all of the bones in my face, like his brother Moses did to him after he kept seeing all of the bruises from George beating me, like all of the times their father beat their mother. For all of the drunken rages and
Jesus,
fist fights
no.
of so many neighbors when wandering into their apartment.
You don't bring out his family's dirty laundry. Look, I get that you are a soulless, heartless cahoot. I get that. And I get you don't understand decency. But let me explain something. When you are brought into a family, you don't throw out their family's dirty laundry unless you just lack honor. You are trying to hurt people because you are now going to get punished. You are going to have to face consequences. And I hope we all forget you. I hope that Kidney Lady never talks to you again. I hope that everyone forgets you.
Also, where was this? Like, there'd be medical records if she had to have her face reconstructed.
I guess he threatened that.
He had his face
threatened it.
reconstructed because his brother beat him up so badly because she lied to him and said that he had beaten her. So the brother beat him. That's why his teeth were hurting the night that he died, because Sarah lied to his brother and had him beat up.
Jedi Jess, I have a question for those legally minded. If the family happened to maybe take some running steps forward at this point, I'll allow it. Can you allow it as a judge or be like, bailiffs?
They likely would be like, let's get you out of here and like they'd have him like escorted outside, but then like they probably wouldn't do anything about it.
I'd mosey as a deputy, which is why I'm not a
Yeah.
deputy.
Yeah, we,
It'd
we
be
need
like-
the old we need the old mother time from the Bradley Yawn case to run right up there and stop them. Yeah, you can watch
Ain't
how.
nobody gonna really fault the victims for this one.
But just look at her now. This is how every day started with George.
Oh yeah,
It's just
this is
building.
exactly. It was a litany of his sins and crimes against her, not any of her transgressions against him. And I hope that they have gold dust in prison wherever you might be, Sarah, because you have this attitude with the wrong heifer in there. You're going to need a lot of gold dust to fix them cracks, ma'am.
Expeditions after I had escaped. For drowning me in liquor and wine because I didn't want to drink, causing me to urinate on myself, then butting the end of the bottle in my face, giving me 2 black eyes and a bloody nose. For making me experience what it is to be sodomized. Threatening to kill my friends and the neighbors when they checked on me to make sure I was alive and in one piece. For threatening to burn
Wasn't
down
she the one
our
going to
townhome
neighbors
and set
telling
my
them to
car on
mind their
fire because I got a
business?
job. For holding me hostage on weekends, my son was supposed to come over by keeping my keys around his neck, my phone in his crotch, and a butcher knife stuck in the middle of the table as a warning not to ask anything or try to leave. For stabbing me in the
Or
leg
maybe
and not
because
letting
you
me
were
call
driving drunk?
911 for an ambulance or seek help, where I nearly bled to death until I concocted a lie to save him from being arrested. For destroying my phone with a hammer because my son called. For me experiencing ever being arrested and after today, prison. For beating me almost blind.
Oh, it's his
crushing
fault
mice,
he
but a rope.
died.
For having me experience what it means to see stars, like in the cartoons, where a character has a tall lump on their head. I had that too, and many times. For dragging me downstairs by my hair in the middle of the night just to sit next to him. For taking my car driving drunk with my debit card to buy more alcohol while I slept, even after I kindly explained the importance of my car to take my son to school foremost, me to work, and he to his batterers intervention classes and probation officer meetings, where I would be forced to sit for hours in the parking lot waiting for him. For causing me so much trauma and pain, mentally, physically, emotionally, I had to be hospitalized more than once. For destroying my reputation and integrity, for my M for murderer scarlet letter, not letting me feel safe to live, talk to other people, spend time with my son, have a job,
Did she just
friendships, simply go to the bathroom with the door closed, or go to sleep soundly or comfortably. I forgive
That's
George
called
for
having
lying,
cats,
for him
ma'am.
trying in so many ways, so many times, to end me with his terrifying love.
Oh
I
my
also
God,
forgive
you
the
brought the
Torres
book
family,
up?
Hold
his
on.
mother and father foremost.
Can we? Did she actually just say that like because of his unalive or his unaliving that it's branded her with a scarlet letter? That's his fault.
Yeah.
Yes, because him dying was actually him punishing her. He did it on purpose to get her in trouble. Get Penny problem glasses on here. She obviously didn't talk to this heifer long enough, because what?
Okay.
Alrighty.
Also his 2 ex-wives and daughters, all for knowing who George was, capable of, and has done in the past, his history of violence and where he learned it, then to keep turning a blind eye when I would ask for help. All of his siblings, including Jorge Torres, who is now on his way to prison for stabbing the mother of their baby in the side of her head.
Oh
For
my
everyone who
God.
knew what George was doing to me, sometimes how and when, but allowed and enabled. I forgive them for caring too late. I hope they all ask themselves while quiet and comfortable in bed at night the uneasy question, what could I have done to stop this from happening to both of them? And after all the time
Are you
Sarah tried
kidding
to, by asking for help from all of us.
At this point, if I heard a loud noise and saw a pink mist, I would start applauding.
I am kind of okay with that general assessment.
I'd start a fundraiser for the bail.
You guys, I tried to write a parody speech, and I could not even parody this level of vindictive vitriol spewed at a family who lost a husband. Yeah, maybe he was a jerk face to you, but that's still their son, their dad, and everything else. And do we want to bring your brother up, who may or may not be a PDF file? Like, if we're going to throw family members going to the clink, I think we need to bring that one up there, ma'am.
Yeah, well, Mo, that's because George Torres's family didn't send her a Christmas card. That's why her brother became a PDF file. It's their fault, you know.
Hey guys, is this the loving, caring, spiritual, sincere, motherly, parental paragon of virtue and spirituality and Jeebus that we were told about?
Yep.
Did Owens look
And so
this
many
over?
times.
Jesus.
Another great contributor of my gold is social media, with its greed, insensitivity, deception, obvious exploitation, and advantageous
Thanks for
gain for my
seeing me,
criminal
Sarah.
case
I
as a
love you
whole,
too.
and for sentencing me by anticipation as a result of ignorance and hate, conjured and fabricated by the organized crime that is social
I
media.
had hate,
which
not
condemned me
ignorance.
before the
Organized
global
crime.
public
Oh, hear
opinion
that.
since the beginning. My
We're
family in all
gonna
cases
get
is
a
the new
RICO
prey waiting
case.
to be picked apart and pillaged from me being made infamous by social media in my criminal case. It simply seems I cannot forgive and be forgiven and move forward. Social media has made me a pariah. It has caused great oppression and undeniable disadvantages.
Y'all, this is an
especially
edited
by
Oppression?
broadcasting and manipulating my cases online. In my criminal case, as a result,
we
my
have to keep
opportunities to be given
remembering
a
this is
fair,
an
proper, and
edited
uninfluenced
version.
successful conclusion was heavily depleted and poisoned. I forgive them. Also, all of the media tycoons for not having a life
don't
of their
need you
own,
to
trying
forgive
so
me.
desperately to make themselves seem so
Media
right by making me
tycoons.
appear so wrong.
I'm
Forgiveness for
pretty
free
sure.
Baker,
judgment,
we're taking it.
ridiculous
I'm putting
theatrics,
it on my
lies,
LinkedIn.
making and taking blood money from
Media
my
tycoon
and others'
per
misfortunes,
Sarah Boone.
accidents, and catastrophes.
Oh,
It's all over their
blood
thank you
money
for all
now.
the super chat blood money.
And even after all
Thank you
that's
all.
been said and done, theorized, hypothesized, scrutinized, and blasphemed, in my case, still no one knows
You're
me.
not Jesus, sweetheart.
Blasphemed?
In the end, I forgive myself for not choosing my life sooner, for not being more brave, vigilant, bolder, and outspoken, stronger, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, for being hopeless, desperate, simple-minded, weak, and inexperienced. I forgive myself for not realizing I was enduring a life of domestic violence and that the vicious cycle of never ends. I had nothing to compare to. I've never been hit by a man ever before in my life. I was raised hitting a woman was wrong and should never happen. No excuse. I forgive myself for not escaping permanently, for not fighting back sooner to save myself, my son, my dogs, home, and car. Having 20/20 hindsight thinking of everything I could have done differently or better to avoid the
Thank you,
outcome.
Danny T, for the
I think
blood
about this every
money.
day since. Also, of all the good days we had together, for him at least, while I was constantly in hyperdrive, high alert, and paranoid, making sure I did
You
everything
went to
right all
sleep,
the time.
ma'am. You were
If
not
not, there's a great
hypervigilant.
possibility I would be ended as George threatened me with so many times before. I forgive myself for falling in love with a monster, and no matter how grotesque he may become, I still loved him, hoped, and forgave. I tried breaking the spell so he wouldn't be a monster anymore. I saw who he was inside. George made me then, now, and always love him for all of his cracks also. We made each other our own brilliant pieces of art from the cracks and repairs. Unfortunately, not all cracks can be. In all of my forgiveness, George is my greatest lesson and will forever be a part of me. I think of him every day and still speak to him when alone on the rec yard. I ask his forgiveness and that he looks for me at the gates of heaven so I can tell him how sorry I am, endlessly, and that I never stopped loving him. In all of it and still.
You just
When I
said
first
he
came to jail, I put my mat
sodomized
under my
you,
bed and
ma'am.
cried all day and all night for months.
Well,
only
maybe she
falling
liked
asleep
it.
from being so exhausted
She just
with
said
grief.
she
I
found
wrote
out
him
what it
letters.
was to be
I wrote his
sodomized.
family and his daughters apologizing for asking
True.
and asking for their forgiveness. But due to fear that my life or sons would be jeopardized, I did not send. I am sorry. I cannot begin to fathom any of their grief and sadness. Please forgive me.
Hey, Baker, can you
I've-
pause
Almost
it?
everything reminds me of him.
Has Sarah heard of a compliment sandwich? You know, like you say, like, hey, you're really good at this, you suck at tech, but you're also really nice. You know, the compliment sandwich. You don't basically take a big, fresh, steaming pile of poo on the family and then say, I just don't understand the amount of pain that you're in, but I will become a better person. After I
Yeah,
got 47 pages worth of he was an absolute monster.
Yeah, she's now apologizing to the family after saying they were the fault she killed him.
Oh, good Lord.
Seeing my stab wound, especially every day, especially, it truly reminds me that all I really did live through. George haunts me. He is everywhere. I believe because I do still love him, think of him, and miss his laugh the most. In my heart, I know he is with me and understands that this tragedy was not intentional. I hope everyone can, his family foremost. I
Not
didn't mean for this to
intentional.
happen. Please wholeheartedly know that, and always, I would never. Forgive me, George. Forgive me, Torres family. Forgive me, Judge Cranick. To the entire planet, please forgive me. I
Nope.
graciously and humbly
Hard
ask
pass.
restoration for forgiveness to be extended instead of judgment, for reconciliation and restoration for all of us to
Nah.
move forward. My apology is profuse and ceaseless. Allow me, please, to brush off the muck, wipe the blood off of my face, and fix the cuts in my skin. I ask for understanding in what really happened and for how long. For second chances, repentance, and redemption, to advocate for all domestic violence survivors, to help them overcome, heal, and still hope, always, to make their voices heard, to confidently walk with all of their scars on the outside and the inside, to help them not ever become a casualty of domestic violence as so many others, to stop the abuse and maltreatment before it's too late. There is always hope, and you can survive. In my soft-spoken conclusion, I ask this. Would I be the darling
Soft-spoken
mother,
conclusion.
celebrated
Soft-spoken,
woman of
okay.
the year, if it were I who died?
Please clap.
How many daughters, mothers, sisters, aunts, grandmothers, nieces, and friends have been because they did? I am a survivor.
I
I
am
think I threw up in my
survivor.
mouth a
Seek
little bit.
justice, rebuke oppressors, defend the fatherless, plead for the widow. Isaiah 117, all-encompassing, protect the abused.
Is that the end of your written statement?
Yes,
Now,
Ew,
gathering
that
all,
was
do you have a
special.
oral statement?
I do.
All right, would you
Oh
read that
no,
now?
another statement?
Yes, please.
And that was edited.
My statement, my verbal statement is primarily to the Torres family, to the judge, to his daughters.
I don't think she's taking responsibility
I
yet
know
either.
you all know who I really am and that I did care for George and that I do still love George. I know you know that we had very many good days. And I
Good days,
take offense to
Jesus.
the statement of being said that this is just for a moment. Right now with me here in the courtroom in front of you all, this is just for a moment. But the moments before that, in order for me to be here, is endless. It's everlasting. The scars that I have on the inside, my outside scars have healed, except for my stab wound. But this has changed me as a person.
Your stab
to
wound is healed too.
see
Stop
things
it.
differently and to understand things differently and to not be weak and just try to protect yourself and forever, regardless of the time that I may receive from today, I forever will have this experience. I forever will have George Torres with me in my heart, in my mind, my body, and my soul. As he and I used to say that we were
Get him out.
one soul split into
He
two
doesn't want to be
bodies.
attached to you.
This is
Ew.
not just for a moment. It may be for everyone in this courtroom, but when I leave, this is forever. When you all leave, that this is forever. This is forever for everyone here.
Here's
and
hoping.
Forever, for it sounds like it's it's like a beatnik slam poetry and a Disney movie song title. This is forever. Forever,
Yeah.
this is forever.
Okay, strategically, it might be bad to put forever in the judge's mind repetitively right before he sentenced
Yeah.
you. But here's hoping, Sarah, that you get your wish, that it is forever.
Forever. Is this the vagina
Nah.
monologues? Well, it's
No, that
the
that didn't make
salty
me want to
cunt monologues.
Yeah.
tear my.
Yeah, I could sit through the vagina monologues, but not so much.
The Sarah monologues. God.
Yeah.
those who it matters to most. I am one of those who will experience this forever. I'm sorry. Words do not define my
How about look them in
shame.
the eyes?
And I don't know what else it is that I can say and convey to the Torres family how this happened.
Bye, Mo.
The ifs and whys and how really don't matter. It happened, and I'm sorry. Words cannot describe. And I hope that everyone can forgive me, the Torres family most of all, and his daughters.
This
because I
feels
know
fake after
what
her
he meant
previous
to them.
statement.
And I don't think
Yep.
that anybody ever understood what he meant to me and I to him. And I ask for forgiveness.
After blaming them. You.
I have
Yeah.
two questions, if you don't mind. And you can speak on it if you want or not.
Nope.
This
Stop.
is a unique case, and one of the reasons it's so unique is that you were in jail for 4.5 years prior to your trial. And I understand that when you were brought up as a child, that you did have some spirituality in your family.
Of a
Some
wild
church,
hyena.
some religion.
Oh, here we go with the religion.
But I understand that you got away from that. Did you have a chance during the 4.5 years to look back at your spirituality?
Absolutely. You know, everyone supposes that this is one of the worst experiences of my life, and it's actually been one of my greatest.
What?
if I were not beaten to death, I was going to work myself to death on the outside. And I never had time to get back into my Bible and
To get a
pray and
job.
to be with the Lord. And I, being here incarcerated, have had time, of course, to get closer to God, to reacquaint myself to Him and realize what it's all about. This is all temporary. And when I say temporary, I don't mean by being set free in jail or from prison or wherever else. It means being set free and temporary, meaning that you work for something higher, you work for God, that you strive for your crown to be placed upon your head by Jesus Christ by being said, "You have done well, my good and faithful servant." I've always tried to be a good and faithful servant. I was just a servant as opposed to doing all that I can when my family were alive and I was going through everything up to this point. I've become so much more closer to the Lord, and it's made me such a better person. And I hope that I am an
Could you
example
have
going forward. of the
possibly
Lord's
gotten
light
close to the
and can
Lord
draw
without
many people to
murdering
me because of
someone?
it.
Any follow-up, State?
No, I assume that was the final word.
Thank you. She can return back to council.
Need follow up from the state. Please, God,
Anything
get
else
her
from
off.
Mr. Jones? No more witnesses, Judge.
This was
Anything else
worse.
in rebuttal? Just proceed to argument, State. Okay, all right. Once Ms. Booth's seated, you can proceed with your argument. Either Mr. J or Mr. Cashtory.
That was terrible.
Yeah, this was worse than I expected.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
That was worse than I even imagined.
anticipate Mr. Rowlands will bring up in his presentation.
Use a microphone.
Regarding the plea offer in this case. That she was
Project, my
offered
friend,
a resolution
project.
In this case of 15 years in the Department of Corrections to begin with. I think it's important, though, that the entire circumstance of that plea offer is put forward. And there's something very critical to that. It's not just 15 years in the Department of Corrections. It's 15 years in the Department of Corrections, but it's predicated on something. And the consideration that it's predicated on is the defendant coming to court and accepting responsibility for her actions. For her coming to court and saying, "I am responsible for George Torres's death, and I accept the punishment that comes with it." That consideration was never given in this case. And because that consideration was never given in this case, the offer of 15 years in no way represents what this case is worth, or what George Torres's life is worth. That is an offer predicated on a particular circumstance, a circumstance of a first-time defendant accepting responsibility and giving every benefit of the doubt and coming to court and saying that they are ready to be punished. Those conditions were never met. So then we turn to this case, and we turn to this crime, and we turn to the actions of the defendant of taking the law into her own hands and murdering George Torres. She has never shown remorse for that. She didn't show remorse for that here today. She again painted herself as the victim. She's the victim of George Torres. She recounted the litany of evil deeds and mistreatments that he perpetrated upon her. She's the victim of George Torres' family. She's the victim of the police. She's the victim of social media. It's all about Sarah Boone. Everything's about Sarah Boone, about how she is the victim. And Sarah Boone sentenced every one of George Torres' loved ones to a life sentence. Just like she sentenced George Torres when he was in that suitcase. George Torres lived out his last nightmarish circumstance in that suitcase, begging to be let out for several minutes, which undercuts any argument that this was somehow unsophisticated. There was ample time and opportunity over and over for her to do something different. But she went forward with taking the law into her own hands and ensuring that George Torres was never getting out of there, while she went up to bed and went to sleep for hours on end. She can't say that she was in duress for the same reason. She was in such duress of George Torres that she goes upstairs and goes to sleep for 11 hours. Your Honor, there's been nothing from the testimony of Dr. Harper either that establishes any type of diagnosis that would give this court a basis to downward depart. Dr. Harper has put blinders on to the fact that she has been incarcerated for 58 months. 58 months with the opportunity.
Ooh, side-eye her. Side-eye her hard.
And the expert witness is absolutely incurious about what any of those records or diagnosis or anything that would have been there would have said. There is no valid basis for a downward departure in this case. She deserves a life sentence. Thank you.
Mr. Owens, response?
Shuffle your
Here we go.
papers.
Just credit. First off, I want to thank you for taking the time to hear our side, hear the witnesses, and review the letters on Sarah Boone's behalf. We've all been here for this trial. We've all been here for other trials. We've all got some age on us. We've all got some life experience on us. And this is a unique case.
What?
This
No,
was
it's
a
not.
unique homicide. It was a unique.
Okay, it was unique how he passed, but
And
yes,
as we all know, a lot of these cases are not black and white. They're shades of gray.
there's video. Pretty black and white
These
here.
crimes don't occur in a vacuum. That
I'd like to
there's
put her
generally
in a
history,
vacuum.
especially involving a domestic couple, a history that comes into play that must be explored. And a lot of what Sarah Boone testified to here today probably happened behind closed doors. And we all know that many times we do not know what happens behind closed doors between a man and a woman in their home.
Except she
Unless there
recorded
is
it.
some reason for the neighbors or law enforcement or somebody else to get involved. And that happened in this case. And so gradually over time, as this event occurred, there was an investigation and it was learned that there was a history of domestic violence involving these two parties. And what we learned was that physically there was violence, and there were photographs to establish that, as were introduced in the trial. And then there was testimony from experts, not only the defense expert, Dr. Harper, that Sarah Boone was the victim, and she was a victim of intimate partner violence, but coupled with the fact that the state's expert testified on the stand at the trial that Sarah Boone was a victim of intimate partner violence, that she suffered from this domestic or this battered spouse syndrome as the hands of
That's
George
not
Torres.
what they said.
That's not at all what they said.
So there's two sides to it. And in a domestic violence situation like that, 95% of the women get out of that relationship. When violence starts to occur, they've either been raised a certain way, they have a certain self-esteem about themselves, where they refuse to put up with it, knowing that it's wrong, knowing that they can do better. But there is a small percentage throughout the country that, for whatever reason, mental health issues, addiction
I
issues,
feel like
whatever
he's
it is,
wrong
it's
on
complex.
these statistics.
Financial
I
reasons,
feel like your
children are
client
involved,
just
whatever.
shit the
If
bed.
you do any
Maybe
studying on
sit
it,
down.
there are circumstances where there is a group of women, predominantly women, it can happen to men, but majority of the time it's a woman that gets caught in this cycle of what we term as intimate partner violence. And heard the testimony about the cycle that occurs. It's over a period of time and it repeats itself, and you go through these phases. A lot of times the victim's not a great historian at trying to articulate it. She tried to do it here today. And I think on Sarah Boone's
That's a nice way
behalf,
to say she's too stupid. She shouldn't have said it.
she is a unique individual.
Right.
She's
Or
got
a
the
liar.
personality that she's got. I don't know. You heard from Dr. Harper that a lot of that was formulated based on the way her mother did not bond with her. The way her father was the way that he was. The fact
on
that
now.
she lost several relatives at a young age, and the trauma
So do other
that
people.
can result. We heard from Dr. Harper that she did suffer from post-traumatic stress as it relates to that trauma
So do
during the
others.
childhood, and then again as it relates to the events that occurred between Mr. Torres and her. So it's complicated, Judge. It's complicated, but the jury has spoken. Sarah Boone was entitled under Florida law to present that defense, and she did. That testimony was allowed to be presented. She was allowed to testify.
Get
But
to the point.
The jury spoke. And so here we are today with you in a position to decide what is justice for Sarah Boone. And I don't know you that much other than our time together, but from what I know,
Oh, for God's sake.
I know you're trying to do the
shut
right thing.
up.
No.
And that's what
Don't
we're
do the right
asking
thing. Act only
the
out
court
of
to do.
spite.
To have some discernment, to have some understanding of the unique situation that Sarah Boone found herself in. And quite frankly, Judge, this all didn't occur behind closed doors.
I agree.
A lot of this was in the public eye.
A lot of this was
Mr.
recorded.
Torres had, I believe, 3 criminal.
This wasn't in the public eye in any other way than most modern cases are. I saw Courtney Clenny had a hearing yesterday which lasted 5 minutes, and people made hours of content on it. Aidan Kearney, in a stupid hearing today, to have his own phones back, had multiple people. This is the new reality. We are the mainstream media. You just all
It was
proved
always
that.
intended for people to be able to watch trials. That's why they've always, from the get-go, they were made public. The difference now is that we don't have to travel to the courthouse and sit in the courthouse and watch it from there. They've made it
Well,
more available.
Yeah, and maybe don't tell the judge who you've been, accusing of secretly working with the state. Maybe, that's something you shouldn't have done the entire trial, being late, being ill-tempered, shushing the judge.
Not being prepared at all, not citing
Yeah.
case law. I don't know, not doing what a lawyer's supposed to do.
No, but again, it's just all of this. She was the one feeding the machine because she liked the attention, and now you have to be lenient on her because she was an idiot. Then Alex Murdoch should be walking out of prison. His case got.
Yeah, his was everywhere.
Yeah, it's not how it works, and I know this guy will say, but I'm just small time lawyer come big city trying to do them their crime case.
It didn't work for Daryl Brooks, okay? That was a media circus. It didn't work for Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, again, his lawyers couldn't say, well, we think he's done self-defense. So any of you having hot takes out there, you're part of an Eagle corrupt, system trying to railroad my client.
It didn't work for Amber Heard either, because she tried to blame the media for everything, even in her case, and it didn't work.
Cases before the courts of this county in which Sarah Boone was a victim. Mr. Torres was the accused. Those cases
Until
were
she
dismissed.
locked him in a
We know from the
suitcase.
history of this domestic violence field that that's normal, that Sarah Boone every time either tried to bond him out or tried to get the case dismissed.
It
At
is
some
really
point,
simple.
somebody has to stop.
She killed him.
Somebody has to say,
Did
wait.
you not see the hostage video of him,
What's going
of
on
her
here?
coaching him?
This keeps repeating. It's going to get worse. Something's going to happen.
My God.
The system failed, Sarah Boone.
No.
Oh,
No,
for
it didn't.
fuck's sake.
No, it didn't.
Sarah
No, it
Boone
didn't.
failed
Circumstances
everyone in
surrounding
her
that failure
life.
And what led us here today.
Oh, I hate this guy.
I hate them both now. Can we sentence both of
I've
them
asked
to
the court
prison
consider that
time?
downward departure. I believe you've gotten a copy of the score sheet.
Not since before trial. Is the score sheet stipulated to?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, you may approach.
Well, I'm glad the state had your score sheet, Owens.
Yes, sir.
Judge,
Well, I think the
I
state
was provided
initially
that here
completes it
today, and
anyway.
I believe, I can't remember the total number of months that it involves, but divided by 12, I think it's 20 months. 20.6 is the low end of the guidelines or something about.
It's 246.0 months based on the score sheet.
I did the calculation, but I believe at the low end is 20 years. I'm sorry, 20 years, 20.6 years state prison, I believe is the low end.
20.5. Yes, sir.
As the court knows, I believe it's on page 3. There are some aggravators that the court can consider in opposing the
20.5,
sentence, and
yes.
then there are a list of mitigators that the court can consider in downward departing, meaning going lesser than the low end of the guidelines. And in the defendant's motion for downward departure, we mentioned, and I had Dr. Harper testify about 2 or 3 of the grounds, and the court needs to only find one to go below the guidelines. The capacity of the defendant to appreciate the criminal nature of her actions and to conform said actions to the requirements of the law were substantially impaired. Judge, I don't have to reiterate the facts and circumstances surrounding this event. You were here, you heard the testimony, you heard the circumstances surrounding what happened and how it happened. I would ask that you consider that as a mitigator.
See you later.
2D, the defendant requires specialized treatment for a mental disorder that is not related to substance abuse or addiction and is amenable to treatment. I think it's fair to say here that we know that Sarah suffers from some mental health issues, objective
No
mental
shit.
health issues that have been
I don't think she's
opined by Dr.
amenable to
Harper
treatment,
and Dr.
though.
Werner. And you heard Dr. Harper testify about the post-traumatic stress disorder that she suffers from as it relates to this event, as it relates to her trauma that occurred
Yeah,
in
it
childhood.
cost me $1 million.
We heard from Dr. Werner. Dr. Werner testified that
True,
she suffered
Baker,
from the
our
alcohol
millions.
abuse disorder as
Right.
did
But after the
Dr.
case
Harper,
ended,
but
I
Dr. Werner
lost,
also mentioned that she was not sure about the anxiety disorder,
lost
whether it
like
occurred
100
prior to or
subscribers, so
because
I
she was
missed
in
her.
jail for the 4.5 years. However, she does require specialized treatment for the mental disorder, and she is amenable for treatment. And then third, the defendant acted under extreme
Can you
duress.
pause for a second?
I think based on
So he's saying that she's amenable to treatment, right? Except she's been getting treatment for the last 4 years and it hasn't worked.
Evidenced by that letter she wrote that was highly edited.
Mm-hmm. So is she really amenable to treatment, or is she just going to make it look good?
She is doing whatever she can to break up the points because, as you saw on the stand, when Sarah doesn't get Sarah's way, Sarah comes out. And then she reeled it back in and said, by the way, I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
Sarah Boone's mindset as she testified to here today, and then you heard from the experts at the trial that when you get that anxious about what happens, Sarah testified about they would have good days where there would be no drinking or very little drinking, and then there would be other days where there was heavy drinking. And generally, when Jorge Torres got highly intoxicated is when potentially things could get violent, and that she was constantly anxious about each day that she was with him. She loved him, obviously being in a cycle like that where you love someone but can't leave him. For whatever reason, Jorge Torres couldn't leave Sarah Boone, and Sarah Boone couldn't leave Jorge Torres, and it was a vicious cycle. But we believe that she qualifies under that it was under extreme duress at the time of this event. And lastly, the offense was committed in an unsophisticated manner, which was an isolated incident. Now, isolated, we know, Judge, that she had one prior event in which both of them were arrested. You heard her testimony that it was during an event. They ended up downstairs next to the washer and dryer, and that she was on the bottom, and she had used her hands to try to get him off, and she had tried to choke him, and there were some marks on him, and she was arrested for felony domestic violence battery, as well as he was arrested. I think a few days later, both of those charges were dismissed against either party. But she has no criminal conviction record. She has never been convicted of a crime other than that event. Now, I think
She
that can
kinda
be
picked a
distinguished.
big
So we
one to
believe that it was an
start off
unsophisticated
with.
manner, obviously a the
Right?
uniqueness of
Yeah.
this event
Sometimes you
is
just
a
go
place
to swing it out of
anybody
the
that would
park.
calculate that they were going to murder
Yeah,
somebody.
maybe
by
she
putting
should
them
have
in a suitcase
tried
and let them spend the night,
jaywalking first.
and the next morning, not try to dispose of the body.
I still don't understand how she
Not try
hasn't
to put
gotten
the
a
suitcase in the car
DUI
and then dump the body.
before now.
Not try to dispose of the bat. Do something. She did nothing.
No, but she
attempts
didn't
didn't
call
stop
911.
tamper with evidence. No attempts after the fact to uncover any conduct whatsoever. No attempts to delete the videos from her phone. Here's my phone.
Because she thought they vindicated
I
her.
think that goes to the unsophisticated manner of unintentional death that occurred. I remember the first time I saw the suitcase video, and I know people have different opinions. Tony Henderson, my colleague, had a different opinion when he saw it. But I remember the first time I saw the video, and I heard what she was saying to him. When he was saying, "Hey, Sarah, let me out. I can't breathe," and words to that effect. And the way that she was talking to him, and the statements that she gave him, in my mind, what has he done to her?
You are the only dumb person that
Any loved one
watched
who
that.
sees a situation like that is going to run and run out.
I thought this is the
My thought
most
was, obviously, we'll go
horrific
through it.
thing I've ever heard in
What
my
is
life.
it?
You can hear
And I
the
think it's
fear
telling
of death
about
in this
what she
poor.
endured.
And you heard,
All right.
oh my God, he must be
It was
the
not
guilty
easy.
party in this one.
Maybe
Just
he
the
is
end
trying to bury
showing-
her.
There is some gray. And it's up to you to decide what's appropriate.
The
Like,
family's
Based on
gonna
that
lose it.
based on the
alone
jury's
was
decision.
haunting. Like
And I would ask you
haunting.
to temper whatever
And he
justice
thinks, oh, what
that
did
you
he do
think's
to her?
appropriate with it. And consider the fact that the state was willing to offer 15 years on a man's
Yeah.
as a lesser included offense, based on the facts and circumstances that they were aware of prior to this trial. Thank you.
Thank you. Any rebuttal by the state? Court has had the opportunity
on,
to review
crane
the
it.
evidence and testimony that was presented at trial. The victim impact statements presented here today, the statements of character witnesses, both oral.
Let's end the poll before
Oh,
we
yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
Because I always forget it. Life without 46%, life with 38%, less than life 15%. 152
And
votes.
I put house long for Sarah in jail. I don't know if I wrote it the McCabe way. 74 got life, 22 picked dealer's choice, and 22 years was 3%. So looks like she's a lifer.
Let's see if you're
orally
right.
and in writing, Dr. Harper's report and testimony, the defendant's testimony, pre-sentencing investigation, the arguments of the state and the arguments of the defense. Court pronounces sentence as follows. Ms. Boone, court sentences you to life in the Department of Corrections with credit time served that Madam Clerk will provide to you momentarily.
Not that it matters.
There are also court costs and costs of prosecution, which Madam Clerk will give you the totals of momentarily. Due to
That's a
the
lot
court
of
levying
license
life
plates.
sentence, the court is inclined to liquidate those to a civil judgment unless I hear opposition from the state.
Oh, there's no parole in Florida.
All right. Madam Clerk,
Nope.
if you could please give us the credit time served and the court costs. please.
Mo and I are not lawyers. Yeah, idiots.
Hold on.
$418, state prosecution fee of $100, a dirt fee of $50, and a fee
Yeah,
Damn, I
fuck
missed the
your
number.
mom.
So the total would be $618.
All right, ma'am, the court costs and costs of prosecution are $618. Those will be liquidated to a civil judgment. You will be given credit time served of 4 years, 9 months, and 8 days. You will have
That's
30
what I
days from
wanted.
today to appeal the judgment and sentence in writing. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. I'm going to have the courtroom deputy provide you the paperwork. Because you've been incarcerated for the last 58 some odd months, the court is going to declare that you are indigent in this matter. I cannot appoint the public defender to represent you as they are conflicted out. Similarly, I cannot appoint the regional conflict counsel to represent you for the same reasons. The clerk will appoint an attorney from the conflict wheel who specializes in appellate litigation. And again, you'll have 30 days from today to appeal that judgment and sentence in writing. Do you have any questions for me? You will now be remanded into the custody of the Orange County Jail to transfer you to the Department of Corrections, and I wish you the best of luck. State, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, anything further? All right. Thank you all very much. Court's off the record.
Can I just say that that was absolutely the correct verdict.
That was good. Yep.
That was
Yes.
the correct sentencing. It was all the correctness things.
Yep.
Because this B word deserved every single second she will spend in hopefully great agony over not being Queen Bee in prison from now on. She is a worthless piece of who ruined the life of a good man. Well, I don't know if he was a good man, but a man with a family, a man with even though he wasn't a perfect man, he was a man with flaws. We all are.
Yeah.
He still had life in him, and as long as there's life, there is hope that you can change.
Mhm.
He was never afforded that hope.
No.
Now I have a question. Should I end this stream and then we go and watch the wedding night horror trial right after?
She just got
Sure.
sentenced, so it's over.
Yeah, don't shh, Jamie. Shh. Yeah, I know you haven't been watching my show. You have been watching the other one.
I mean, do you want to cry some more?
I want to
Oh,
cry
yeah,
some more. I don't cry.
the sentencing. There's going to be the victim impact statements of the mom and the
Yeah.
husband for the drunk driving golf cart case.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking if they had time, really, because it was
They
so.
did. They already did
It's
all that. Yeah, and they sentenced her already.
yes. She took a plea deal.
She didn't take a plea deal. She just pled guilty. They gave
Yeah,
her
she
the
pled
judge just
guilty,
gave
but it's a couple of hours, 3 hours long. Either I should do it now and stay up all night and not stream tomorrow, or we do it tomorrow at 9.
Could go either way.
Kimber
I
Hills says, "Make us cry." I just not.
Yeah, no,
The entire
it's-
thing was the impact statement.
Yeah, that's the entire thing. And then they
Okay.
just the sentence is quick.
Rob Mill.
I said just stick to the
Tomorrow,
sentence.
now, on Tuesday, Baker's Choice.
Eh,
Bonus Baker time. Do a poll. Get some sleep.
You
I don't
do
need
what
sleep.
you
I
do.
slept
I
8
can't be
hours.
here tomorrow anyway.
I was
yeah, I'll
about
be
to
at
say
work
if
tomorrow.
if you want to do the crying, I will stick with you. I will not do nightly news if I stick with you for the crying statements, or I will be in chat tomorrow. It is up to you.
No, it's up to chat because
Oh, that's right. It's up to you. It's up to chat, as
I
Nicholas
will
would say.
blame you when I'm lying dead in a suitcase saying, "You made it."
I'm
you made it
beautiful.
good."
All my breaks have gold dust and Sarah Boone spit in them, apparently.
You're working yourself too hard.
Mm.
I didn't even understand that statement from her, considering she had been unemployed for like
I
3
know,
years
what work
before that.
has she been doing?
Well, she didn't want to work herself to death. We have a poll up now at 9 a.m. or just the sentencing. It'll backfire and bite my ass as always.
Sentencing. Well, I'm gonna
If
have
we
to jump
watch-
off. My earphones are dying in a minute here.
Oh no.
See you later. If we watch tomorrow, can you cut the crying? I can. That's one of the things is, do you want just the sentencing? If you just want the sentencing, I'll find that. We'll hear her sentence. But this was horrendous. This was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this, I blame everyone except myself. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry that you made me do it.
You could see the real Sarah when she was reading, because you saw her get progressively more aggravated and agitated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did Owens read this before? What is
I think he did, and I say that because he made the comment right beforehand saying that this is, all your statement. This is not a questioning; it's narrative. Like he kind of emphasized that, like he wasn't prompting it, if that makes sense.
Well, he didn't care about any of this stuff. He
No.
wanted all this stuff to be out there. Since this whole trial, he probably read it and was like, "This is gold."
who so Owens and Sarah being the only two people who watch that video and think, God, what did George do to her?
That was such a stupid statement.
Yeah.
When I was watching her, the way he was talking and the way she was talking, I thought, what she do? Was it the shh?
Right.
That's my name. Don't wear it out. Is that
Was the riveting part and yeah, find me that there, yeah, hilarious. Was that the part that really got him, that weird discombobulated sentence somewhere in the middle?
It's just it's just imagine, and he's such an A-wipe. It's
Mhm.
now people are saying 1% says now, 22% says at 9 a.m., 37% says just the sentencing. If you want to influence it, please hit in the poll.
The thing is I don't know that they're going to really make that much money off of this case. It's not like, one where it was wishy-washy, or like, I just can't see what you would. She's not sympathetic. Do you know what I
you
mean?
can't make her the Rosa Parks of domestic violence. I mean, it's Sarah Boone, for God's sake. She's not
No,
Tina Turner.
No, but again, I still believe this isn't defamation. I think I still believe he thought this could be his jump off point for a great
Yeah.
YouTube career. He would come in here, he would lose the case. He knew he was gonna lose because you couldn't win this case.
No.
But he would show what a wordsmith he was and how he could kind of do all the lawyer stuff and show you.
Except he couldn't.
No, but then, but that's what I was. Most of the people who think that way will never ever amount to anything on YouTube. How many people start a YouTube career by thinking, "I'm gonna be the bee's knees," and a bee has 6 knees. That's a lot of knees, and they are horrible. And he showed us he cracked under pressure. And I know we're idiots. We don't do anything. We're just sitting here. But it's actually quite the first many times it's quite intimidating trying to be not talk like a robot. And just
Well, yeah, and you have to remember to look at the camera, which is not going to be at your eye level where your computer screen is. You gotta,
and then
just
interact with the chat and stay on focus. Notice when something maybe isn't working. There's a lot of things that you don't get as a YouTuber until you are a YouTuber, and
I'm just a guest, but I'm still trying to look at chat and watch what's going on. And
and totally Russian is correct. You don't start a YouTube career. YouTube careers happen. When I started my thing, I went on Marketplace to look for cheap stuff because I was just going to cover some election stuff in Denmark. I'm never going to do anything. I just needed to talk. The amount of streamer packages on Marketplace, because everyone bought the camera and the microphone because now they're going to be the next Fortnite streamer. And they found out it's actually quite hard work to sit there and talk because I'm a good Fortniter. Yeah, but if you're sitting there concentrating on the game and not relaying it to your... Yeah, it's... 41% says justice sentencing, no crying, with 66 voters. Should we do a countdown? I'll give it 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, we'll take the poll. But right now, people are saying justice sentencing. I'm just going to mute a couple of things and go off and find the sentencing. I like that part of it. Then I can get to bed before midnight.
Sounds like a plan. I will say that Sarah Boone shows a consistent pattern of narcissism, and I don't know how the hell she didn't check off every single, DSM-5 bullet point, because I think that, in fact, that statement was a case study in how a narcissist sees themselves. She's always the victim. She never was the perpetrator. She never started anything. It was constant fear for her. And even when things are contradicted, she is still the victim.
Yeah.
We can't trust her out in society. She has no ability to perceive a situation. Honestly, her truth was brought up a lot. And if I never have to hear the word terrifying love again, I don't know how. Did Julie Harper write the book and then sell it, and then Owens bought it and got her consulting for free?
Maybe.
Because of all the psychological babble bought on Timu, I have no idea. Well, she wasn't nursed very long. And, okay, there are...
And she lost her dad in her teens, and she wasn't had a good relationship with her mom. And it's like, okay, but plenty of people...
Yeah. There's just... Yeah. And I could have done with that whole Japanese, pottery shard thing. But it does make me wonder how much of her tablet time she used to look up something comparable.
I've heard that metaphor before, or that story before, but usually it's actual people who have been through something traumatic and have pieced their lives back together.
Yeah, and usually it's not self-induced.
Right. I will say this could impact her custody case, because while you can still have somewhat of a meaningful relationship while in prison for life, because Lucas is of an age that he can actually have input into that, the judge may just say limited visitations until you're 18, or
Yeah. Now, if it's limited visitations, does he get to be the one that kind of initiates those?
it'll
So,
depend on what the order says, because they can order him to like attend them, but it'll probably be just like they were like what they've been while she's been in jail here,
Okay.
a televisit. Like they're not going to mandate he go into the jail or
yeah,
anything
because
like
I could
that.
see if the dad was able to bring in a counselor that says, every time he talks to his mom, it's detrimental.
Well, yeah,
And
and that'll impact. And that's the thing, is that they're going to do what's in the best interest of the child, because that's the standard. And if it's the best interest to foster the relationship, then great. But if the child,
Yeah.
his psychologist, the other parent, like if there's ample evidence showing that there is not a meaningful relationship here, and one is not going to be able to be built while she's in prison, then they'll say okay and cut off the visitation.
Now, for the appellate case, I mean, I think Judge Kranick has done enough to appeal-proof this case, every day asking if Sarah was good with, her strategy and things like that. I don't see where she has a case for appeal, but I'm not a lawyer.
No, I don't really see anything that's gonna peek out. They might try the ineffective assistance of counsel.
Just
I doubt it'll
because
go
we
anywhere.
filed a motion on the basis of she was denied her Sixth Amendment rights, but she wasn't, because the judge made a ruling and there's case
Right.
law. So,
Doesn't
but
mean they
there's
won't
no.
try it on appeal, though.
But
because
it
it's a
will be
life
thrown
sentence.
out. It's going to be thrown
Yeah.
out. So
Well, as I
it
said,
doesn't
try.
matter. Yeah.
They're gonna try it, but I doubt it'll work. And that's like one of the few that I could see them actually trying to do, is the ineffective assistance of counsel. Past that, I mean, they could try the whole delay thing, but that's probably not going to work either, because we had a national, thing that we can't talk about on YouTube. And then, she kept changing lawyers because she couldn't work with them. And all of that is pretty well documented. So they're going to file some kind of appeal like that. I expect that, especially because she got life. If anything, they're going to be looking to try to reduce that sentence down to a number of years instead, which is why they document what the time served is.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why they still documented that even with life.
Yeah, because if for some reason it goes up to appeal, the appeals court said, nope, she shouldn't have gotten life. She should have gotten, 30 years or whatever, or a number of years instead.
Oh, okay. That
they
makes
have
sense.
to be able to account for that. So, I mean, at most, I could see it maybe getting reduced to a number of years, but even then, I don't see anything that would win on that. Like, he appeal-proofed this case pretty damn good to make sure that it, everything was sound.
Yeah, and he was very mindful. I think he was mindful of that. And I do like judges that are mindful of things and kind of but he didn't do it in Judge Mommy with the Daryl Brooks. So we got to learn, rule 108.6-11 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I have bad news.
Did they take it down on you?
No, but the voting is 43% says now. So I'm going to end this stream, bump you all over to another stream, take a pee, not get to bed today, but tomorrow. And we will be watching a lot of people cry.
Oh, well, then I'm getting booze. I mean, I'm going to be sober.
And the audio is really bad. I'm just saying. So let's see. We might just switch to the sentencing if it gets too much. But I'm going to end this, and we'll be right back. I've set it up to 5 minutes. I need a pee.
Okay. Godspeed.
Well,
May
I
your
will say
stream be
goodbye. See you guys
prosperous.
later.
Bye.
What exhibit are you referring to? I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor. 100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All
right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this,